greetings.
Hello. Sorry for the late start. Took a nap and a nap turned into almost a sleep. Got some work done on tomorrow's video though. Just have to edit and render it, but we're good. So let's set that over to live chat rather than top chat so I can actually see everything. Don't know why it defaults to that. But anyway, I didn't get a chance to level him, so we're back at the same level we were last time. So, yeah, we're going to be murdering Act 2, probably Act 3 as well, because those are the two worst acts. But we'll get through. And as always, new player questions are welcome. And hello, Spencer, Jim, and Adam. Welcome to the stream. Hopefully you're doing well today. And, yep, far Oasis we go. Hopefully no server issues, knock on wood. But we'll see. Yeah, there have been a lot of server issues lately. You were first 3 this time. Hey, yep. Hey, handsome, how's it going? And I'm doing okay. Yeah, I saw there were about 5 waiting, and that's quite a few for such short notice. And I have transferred some stuff over, by the way. We actually have a little bit of magic find because of boots. And we could do attack rating if we wanted to. We could stab stuff. We'll see if we do that very often. But, yeah, it's stuff that I was going to be using on the Paladin, so I was like, you know what? We'll just go ahead and use it on here. Hey, Unicycle, how's it going? Let's go and set the world ablaze. Think your clock's off. That or mine's off. I actually started the stream at 8:29, according to my computer, at least. But yeah, hey, none of us. How's it going? I'm doing pretty good. But yeah, the stream is about actually 30 minutes late compared to when I would have liked to start. Right now, I'm thinking Tuesday and Saturday are going to be like the main days. Oh, gear. Absolute trash on Mercenary. I grabbed some Saigon's stuff off of the... Because I was planning to do Paladin before this, but I decided to put it up for a poll. So I transferred this stuff off the Paladin, which we were going to use for some magic find. We've got Death Spade for our weapon, and Stealth, just random hat, and just some other stuff in here. Nothing too amazing. We do actually have 2 good rings. They're not amazing, but they're good enough. And, of course, Resist Charms that I finally transferred over from the Sorceress. Yeah, I got sick last week, but I've been trying to work out a schedule where I can do both. So I'm thinking Tuesday, Saturday for YouTube, for the just Diablo 2 stuff. And I may throw in a 3rd day, and then we'll do 2 days for the streaming of the arts over on the Twitch. Thank you, Lucas. I like actually showing off the items. That was a recommendation, and it seems to work out pretty good. And it also makes me sit there and actually look at the stats for a little bit more, as opposed to just listing them off from rote memory. Let's see. And I'm glad you're enjoying them, Lucas. How are you doing today? You having fun with your Elemental Druid? Elemental Druids are fun. They're just generally enjoyable, and we just went the wrong way. We actually want to go to the other location, but there's a boss here that we can smack in the face hard. It's XP. We need to get level 19 so we can get Leaf. Oh, we're only level 17. You can't use Leaf until 19. So that's one reason why I don't mind just killing... Hey, we have an XP shrine. I should have grabbed that beforehand. Shrines, they need to make them a little bit more visible. The little hovering thing is nowhere near as visible as it was in Legacy. We have a leaf in our stash, though. Yes, this is normal. We're going to be going probably at least Act 4, if not completing normal today. Because I want to get Act 2 and 3 out of the way. Then whenever we get to Hell, we'll be swapping over to doing... Let's go and get that guy down, please. Extra strong. Oh, no. Extra strong maggots. That's just a mental image I didn't need. But... Yeah, whenever we get to Nightmare, we'll switch over to Wind. Because we've got dual Spirit and all that fun stuff kind of working for us. And by then, we should actually be decent level. We're honestly losing out a little bit on XP. Because we are technically under-leveled. Fissure strikes you as basically Fire Blizzard. Pretty much. It kind of is just basically Fire Blizzard. And that's the reason why you use it through normal. It doesn't get enough synergies to really be that great later on. You only get 2 synergies on it, which means that you're not going to be getting near as much damage out of it as you would with Blizzard, and you don't have the resistance reduction. So that's the reason why that holds it back. Do I want to get the extra strength and actually switch over to Saigon's Shield as well? Nah. We're going to be using Leaf in normal. What are the skills I like for Druid? Depends on the difficulty, really. In normal difficulty, Fire Druid all the way this is just such an easy thing. And technically, if you were going to be wise about using the points, you'd not have dumped into Molten Boulder. You'd actually go Firestorm, 1 in Molten Boulder, keep doing Firestorm, and then do Fissure. That way you have a higher damage Fissure. But I wanted to play with my bowling balls. We also have plus skills from stuff. But yeah, Fire in normal, Wind, and stuff in Nightmare. But I like Fury Druids. I like Hunger Druids. I have a soft spot for them. I still haven't tested if they're fixed in this version or not. That'd be so awesome if they fixed the Fire Druid... I mean, not the Fire Druid, the Hunger Druid bugs. Because it would basically double the Hunger Druid's damage output. Because there's a bug for the bear attacks with Hunger. And it's also on the wolf attacks as well. It's just not as prevalent. But basically, you only hit every other attack with it because of a bug on the D2 server. And yes, it even applies in single player. So you can get down to a 4-frame attack, but you only hit every 8. But I need to check if it's in Resurrected because I haven't tested it. I need to transfer over the Bear Druid to single player because I'm slowly taking him over there. If you're wondering why it's taking me so long to like move the single player stuff over, it's because I'm moving them over as I make videos about the different pieces of equipment so I can keep track of where I'm at in it. So, and that forces me to organize it before moving it over. But yeah, Fissure is probably the strongest normal difficulty skill for a Druid. You wish they were less of a Fire Druids were less of a struggle in Hell? Yeah, same here. There's a few ways to make them work, but it's extremely gear dependent for the ones that I know of. I'm sure there's probably other strategies for it that I don't know of or that I'm just not thinking about, but they are definitely there. Is a Maul Werebear viable at all? Yes. And actually it's usually Maul and Shockwave. It's still not as fast as like a Fury Druid, but it is, if they fix the bug with it, that would actually be an insanely good build. It ended up getting a name called Kodiak later on. Well, the Bear Druids that attack super fast, but those had been around since the Druid's inception, so... Yes, from regular D2 to D2 Resurrected. By transferring them over chunks at a time, I actually can keep track of what I've transferred so I don't end up accidentally duping or anything like that. But as far as the Maul Druid, it's one of those where you have... Let's go ahead and kill all these things off. Where you're relying on stun effects. Hey, Jin, how's it going? Any strategies that don't require Infinity for Fire Druid? Yeah, but they require nearly as expensive items. Because there is... there's the giant hammer that gives +7 elemental things that you can do an Armageddon / I believe it's Fissure Druid with. Then you have the lower resist you can use and stuff like that. But generally speaking, you're going to be doing physical fire. You're going to be mixing it up with other things. With the case of the hammer one, you're actually doing it with shapeshifting. And it works out okay. I mean, it's not earth-breaking, but... Why does hammer didn't sound like bear, but there's no bears come out of the enemy? Because they're stubborn and hate us. You were thinking Lycan, Werebear, Maul, Heart of the Wolverine, and all the other points into Shockwave? That would actually work okay. You didn't know about transferring. You have a couple of D2 class characters you'd love to have on Resurrected. How do you do it? I could make a video over that. It wouldn't be a very long video, but basically you just copy the save folder into the Diablo 2 Resurrected. I mean, you copy the save files, sorry, your character file and your map files into your Diablo 2 Resurrected save folder, and whenever you load up the game, it'll generate a Diablo 2 Resurrected save from it. A save file, that is. I'm slightly tempted to go down there and get some XP so we can get up to 19. Doom Runeword for a Wind Druid. I'd rather have plus skills. Like, Heart of the Oak and stuff like that. Reason being is they've already patched out the resistance thing on multiplayer, which I find sad that they didn't keep it. I personally think they should have kept it and just give diminishing returns to Cold Mastery at high levels. Yeah, the stairs are a pain in the ass for everybody, though, in Arcane Sanctuary. But if they would have kept that in, Doom Runeword would have been a lot higher rated for me on that, but no, I'll stick with with just plus skills and a lower resist wand. Now, obviously, you have to know what lower resist will break, which isn't a ton of them. Surprisingly, no, I have not gotten pizza since I mentioned it. I have had really crappy Mexican food, though. Well, compared to like what I remembered it being. I was like, oh, I've got a coupon. I can get really cheap fuzzies, which it's kind of just a taco shop that's in a few locations. But basically, yeah, their stuff tasted like crap this time, comparatively. So let's go ahead and nuke all these things, and yeah, keep moving. But no, I still need to get that. I still have my nice bottle of Tabasco sauce kicking around. So let's see. Our mana recovery is not terrible. That said, I have had a frozen pizza with that on it. It's one of those little, like, dollar pizza thingies. Well, see, this place used to actually have, like, a spicy queso that they would put over, like, their nachos and stuff. And they actually had fairly nicely seasoned, like, beef and chicken. But that was back several years ago, and yeah, it was disappointment. Now it's just like white queso Velveeta and nonsense. Is there any potential in Obedience Hybrid Druid? You found that reduced fire resist on Obedience quite convenient. I mean, it would be okay. But, oh geez, wow. That was visual glitch 27. But apparently there have been some really funny visual... Oh, we probably could have used that before. Let's go and kill these things. But it wouldn't be terrible. It just wouldn't break immunities, which is the main problem that you're going to be running against. You could also... I'm trying to think how else you could actually deal with it. And yeah, we have to talk to them. I think I might actually kill some things in the... Wonder how that hot sauce tastes. You got... Oh, yeah. I don't ever get anything from Blizzard. I doubt I ever will get anything from Blizzard. So, what is a good use of perfect gems? Depends on which kind of perfect gems. Crafted items, you have your blood, safety, hit power, and caster items, which are all have their uses, different slots, different things. Then you have re-rolling various magical items. You can even re-roll rares with skulls, but that's less good. You have... I usually use my perfect diamonds for re-rolling grand charms. I usually use my topazes and cheapo magic find purposes as well as re-rolling grand charms. And then the specific ones, emerald, sapphire, amethyst, and ruby, I use for their specific crafted recipes only. Usually you're better off with element-specific runes for that kind of stuff. And I still need to update the Nightbot. I forgot I was in the middle of modifying that the other day. But yeah, rubies, blood. Blood gloves give you crushing blow. Blood belt gives you open wounds. I would recommend against doing blood weapons. For the most part, you can get much better things easier. Admittedly, there are some GG items that you can get by doing that, but it's not likely. You're basically re-rolling berserker axes at that point. And yes, I am actually fighting in here because I want to get XP and stuff. To get level 19. We're that close.
Not enough mana.
I can fight you toe to toe, my dude. I have Saigons. Boom. Oh, and he gave us a mace. I think we already have one of those. Crush Flange? I'm pretty sure we got one already. You like the 5% chance to cast level 3 Frost Nova when struck. You have pieces like that. Yeah, those actually do help out. That's actually one of the strategies in a pacifist run. You end up getting one of those, and you get the chance to cast regular Nova on things as well. And you're just a Nova machine. Combine that with just some reflect damage stuff, and you're good. Thorns, Iron Maiden, that kind of stuff. He gonna die? Oh, he's running away. Get back here! He was betrayed by his own friends. We're level 19. So more vitality and more fissure. Depends on what kind of druid you're building as to what stats you kind of focus on. For the fire druid, in normal, it's literally just get enough strength for your gear and load up on, there we go, fissure. But what does emerald add for crafting? Crafting with emeralds, I'm trying to remember. I think emerald is safety. So that's going to be resists. So you have emerald for safety, amethyst for caster, ruby for blood, and then sapphire for your hit power. Hit power gloves are amazing for Amazons, by the way, if you're going to go bow, because knockback for days.
Hello.
But now we actually have leaf. This gets to get sold. And, oh yeah, we have Saigon's belt. Why was I looking at belts? I don't need belts. Belts don't need me. See, our next upgrade is going to be at 27, I believe. 27 and 28. Yeah, most of our stuff is going to be relatively low level, except for potentially using the gloves. You found 2 ethereal shakos. I am sorry. I mean, you can still use them until they break. I would not put a Zod in them, though. They're not worth that. So in Act 5 on Nightmare, does each area have random mobs from each act? Doing your first Necro run, really confusing Skelly Archers everywhere? Sort of. The way it's done, and this is actually true everywhere, believe it or not just in Act 5, but each area has a specific set of some things it can get from it. So let's say we go to Arcane Sanctuary. This one, it can only pull 3 types of enemies. So you're going to end up with ghosts, the mage dudes, and the goatmen. Those are the 3 you can get here. But when some places have like 6 or 7 options, but they can only pull, I think it's 3 or 4 total. I don't remember just right now. I'm a little tired. But basically, they'll pull a certain number from that, and they'll start dropping those specific ones in, and the ones that don't get picked end up just not ever spawning in that area on that particular map. Whereas if they do get picked, they do spawn it. So you'll pick, like, say, 4 out of 7. And in Nightmare in Hell, they just add to the list of the potential things in each area. So those skeleton archers you find out in Blood Hills can always spawn there potentially. They are on the list. But they're not necessarily on the list in the caves, for example. So it's not entirely random. It's literally they specifically added them to areas as an option to find. Are blood gloves good for a shapeshifter druid? Yes. They give you up to 5% crushing blow. Yeah, I wish I could get it on Switch. That would be nice to actually be able to play, like, from the couch or from bed or something like that. One nice thing about the Fire Druid is your attacks always stick onto the platform, so you don't have to worry about losing the drops from ghosts, I guess. You got a random Bozon question. Is Immolation Arrow really that bad? Most guides you've seen say don't bother with it and just use Exploding. It's not good because the casting delay. Is it terrible? I mean, you can use it. It's not going to be like, oh, this build is absolutely useless, because it's one of those where if you are going to use it, you're going to want to use Exploding Arrow too. So you'll shoot the Immolation Arrow, and then you'll hit in between the Immolation Arrows with Exploding Arrows. But for the most part, Exploding Arrow is going to be your main one, and you're going to actually go dual elemental and go, say, Exploding Arrow with the final ice arrow, sorry. I'm forgetting what it's called. I think it's freezing, or I think it's the freezing arrow. I always get their names mixed up because it's all cold names, and there's 3 of them. Pretty sure it's freezing, ice, and cold. Yeah, ice bosons work nice, but yeah, exploding is spammable. That's what makes it better. You usually only do the immolation for the synergy. Fury Druid, is it hell viable? Yes. You do have to be concerned about getting a better weapon, but it is completely hell viable. In fact, there are some shapeshifter druids that are used for doing the Ubers. They're not as good as a smiter, but they're good enough. They'll get the job done. So, I really wish the warmth on here was classless. Almost anything is viable with gear. I mean, you can get through hell with punching, but it's a pain in the ass. It's not fun. But, and that's true of any class. That's not just Barbarian. Yes, I know Llama did it on Barbarian, but you can literally naked hell on any class if you are stubborn enough and know the mechanics. But it's just a trial in frustration more than actually being useful for anything. This place reminds me, I actually need to work on a little mini-series pretty soon. Fury Druid Rib Cracker is fantastic. Yes, that is a very strong combo. Is it the strongest one? No, but it's very, very good, and it's actually kind of good for a few purposes. If you're wondering, these chests are actually somewhat related to the chests in Lower Kurast, which is leading me to remember that I need to actually do specific runs for something. So that's not the way we need to go. Da 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 da. Hey Dane, how's it going? Let's see. But yeah, Fury Druid, Rib Cracker is probably your good economy thing to go after. You may not want to upgrade it. Depends on whether you're going for damage or crushing blow. Always wanted to make an Impalezon, but Impalezon is garbage. I mean, it's doable, like we said. With the right gear, it is. but I am not a... Impale is very slow. Although that said, Fend feels a lot better in D2R. You got an Iraq, 3 Shaco, and a Sir. Jeez. So are you gonna make a wind? Rune word? No, don't make a wind with your Sir. But yeah, a lot of people are like, you'll never get all these rune drops. They upped the rune drops in version 1.13. So this one does have the upped rune drop. So you will be able to get runes for a lot of these things a lot easier. And it's a good thing. It lets you actually play around with the characters rather than being like, oh, I have to use this cookie cutter because it's the only one I can find the runes for. I say as I'm running a cookie cutter. I happen to like this cookie cutter, though. I do think they need to possibly include some post-game content or something like that that makes it easier to farm runes. Just a ghost-heavy area. They don't even have to adjust the drop rates. Just a place with a lot of ghosts and finger mages would be perfectly fine. Just a red portal with those. That is correct. Magic Find has 0 effect on rune drops. Let's go ahead and resummon everything, because I've been putting off actually resummoning stuff. And yes, I am hitting things with a stick. That's one reason why I actually put the leaf in a short staff. That and for assassins. Can't believe Meth dropped that. Yeah, Mephisto and the Act bosses are actually kind of terrible for runes, but that is a pretty good find. You actually have better luck from the chest behind them, believe it or not, for the runes. This place, honestly, in Hell difficulty, it's fine with everything except for fire. Because generally the vampire things don't spawn in large numbers unless you get a boss pack. So your mercenary can just take them out. It's not a big deal. These guys do spawn in large numbers and are just setting everything on fire. Not setting everything on fire, they're resistant to fire. Let's see, where is he hiding over there? Oh, he did. Okay. He did! Okay, so you need to go away. And it's square. I don't even have to check. I can tell you it's square right now. Generally, if I have good gear, I'll run 250 to 300% Magic Find. And honestly, that place is actually really good for poison as well. So we've got Project Cube to restore the staff. What? Why can I not do... There, transmute that. I cannot do that quest in this game. Oh, because I made it with a higher level character. Damn it. Well, at least we got the staff, so I can make a new game. I forgot I was in my transfer game, because I made a game to transfer stuff so I wouldn't run into the, like, nonsense. There we go. I am going through normal difficulty. This isn't farming right now. But yeah, farming keys there is a pretty good thing. I'm also recommend popping the chests. If you go down the wrong path, 100% pop the chests, because they are super chests. Yeah, on players 1, they're not going to have the best patterns, but on higher player counts, they actually can be halfway decent. So what's the symbol this time? Oh, because we... Yeah, we're going to have to re-kill him, but it's fine. Because I literally didn't notice that I loaded it up on a different character. This was not designed by... So this character is not going to have the, whatchamacallit done. The Sun quest in normal. Yes, I know you can look, but I can't. There's no red portal there.
Not enough mana.
Because I had made this game with a higher level character and forgot. Just fine. I made the last game with a higher level character. Because I was transferring stuff off of her. Can you get the fuck out of my way? Please. Thank you. I just want the mana potion, damn it. If you change players right before opening a chest, does it give you the player's 8 drops, or do you have to do the whole... It's, as soon as you open the chest, it determines the player count for that. So, yes, you can actually just leave all the chests, then switch it to player's 8, and then open them, and you'll get player's 8 drops from it. But yeah, we've already gone through with the sorceress and the necromancer. Brain fart there. Seriously. No, that's fine. Let's go ahead and take them out. Next up will most likely be the paladin or the assassin. Reason being is people are saying that the martial arts assassin is actually kind of fun with controllers, so I think I'll try it with controller and go for finishers and charges and all that fun stuff, which I absolutely hate on keyboard and mouse. So it'll take me some getting used to do it even on a controller. Yeah. Magic Find doesn't change anything except for what the base becomes. It cannot influence like what the base is. You're not going to just automatically get better items because you have more Magic Find. That is a very common misconception. Can I do a shapeshifter? I could. But these are mostly for like directing new players basically. So generally, unless I'm doing something very explicit, I'm going to be doing something that is at least reasonable for a new player. I wouldn't usually recommend a shapeshifter for a new player. If you're going to go melee, I'm going to recommend Zealot Paladin. Yeah. Especially Neelathak's key. Assassin is good for that, by the way. And I am picking up way too many potions. It's fine. It's just I don't feel like having to farm. Because for that, it's 100% viable, solo self-found and everything. It's just... there's the whole issue of... let's go and grab these real quick. But it's a whole issue of... you actually have to grind on that build for runes. And I don't have a massive rune collection right now. And while the grinding isn't terrible, it's not great either. Murder them all. Light healing potion. Never did a shapeshifter. We can do a shapeshifter on like one of the single player runs. It's not a lot more gear. You just have to be able to get a decent weapon that's fast. You don't want a slow weapon on a Fury Druid. There is also the bow builds, which are kind of weird but functional. Let's see. Yeah, we can use the XP. How much mana steel do you need in hell to make Whirlwind feel good? With grief. It really kind of depends on where you're at. Because, like, if you're whirlwinding through a bunch of skeletons, it's never going to feel good. If you are whirlwinding through, like, meat bags like the Hell Clans and stuff like that, you don't actually need that much. Not with grief, at least. Where does the Windy Druid have trouble in hell? He doesn't. Because you're very unlikely to run into both physical and cold immunes. Like, here you'll have a little bit of frustration with these guys. Because getting the tornadoes to hit them in these narrow corridors is a bit of a pain in the ass, but really, not many places are that big of a problem. You don't necessarily need a good damage weapon, you need crushing blow. Or bleed, or anything like that. You need supplemental damage. Let's go ahead and keep trucking. It also depends on how you're whirlwinding. Whirlwind strategies have changed a lot because they've changed the mechanics of whirlwind a few times. You always wanted to make a bow assassin, but not sure how to make it. You tried Venom installed out in Late Nightmare, if you recall. Generally, it's a weird one. You need a lot of poison damage sources. You use Venom, you get a lot of poison damage sources. It'll condense the time down. I mean, not, yeah, the duration down. It'll condense time down and cause you to travel. No, yeah, it'll condense the duration down for the poisons, and it'll do decent damage. But for the most part, like, if you can get it, the guided arrow bow is kind of fun with it. I usually don't rely on Venom, the rune word, for it. I mean, it's usable on it. It's just not my favorite. There you go, big boy. Eat that. Okay, return to town for more information. It's going to be Triangle. Let's see. You moved over last week. Does the new patch queue stop you from save and exit and starting up a new game? Or just get on the servers? It seems to be just getting on the servers, although there is protection against spamming games. Because it's like, for me, it was only 30 seconds. Because I was making games to transfer stuff, and it locked me out from getting in on anybody for a while. I am seeing like a visual glitch. But yeah. Last time you killed him, he dropped a rare giant sword, too. He needs a bigger sword. I'm trying... I always forget which tomb is which, just raw directions, but these guys are good XP anyway, so... And actually, you... There you go, you now have armor. But... yeah, I always forget which direction they are because, well, my brain is farty. In we go. It's not something super important for me to remember. As far as the weapon speed glitch, I assume you're talking about the one where you can, like, by switching it to the right weapon, you can have, like, super fast attack speeds with not so fast weapons. But yes, last I heard they had fixed it. I don't know if they're going to unfix it. Because there's been a lot of that and e-bugging a lot of people have been very upset about, and it's like, seriously? Seriously? One, defense does not matter that much. Two, that weapon speed bug, yeah, it does change PvP not being there. I can understand the upset about that, but that's more something that needs to be addressed with balance changes, not... let's have a glitch that, like, new players don't know about. I'm feeling a bit better. Need to invest in better food, but that will come hopefully later. Let's see. Let's go ahead and murder all them. Die, Ghoul Lord. But yeah, for the most part, we're just gonna... oh, hey, we actually got a fairly decent Talrash's Tomb, too. This is gonna be good XP. I do need to remember, and hopefully someone will remind me, use your thawing potions. My brain will not remember to do thawing potions. Am I expecting new balance? Let's see. You just found Athena's Wrath. Is that good for druids? It's okay. And actually, druids are one of the few classes that do use two-handed as a main a lot. Because whenever you're shapeshifted, your block frames are shit. So you generally don't go for block, so two-handed is perfectly fine. Balance changes for D2R. I'm hoping for some, but I don't expect them. You want to play a Spider Sin again? Better food? Things that actually taste good. What I wouldn't give for... It's not even, like, expensive. What I wouldn't give for, like, a cheap pizza right now. The Fire Druid is super easy and normal. This is softcore because we're playing online. I'm getting all the online characters up and running. Then we'll probably do some hardcore and single player again because I had only just started the hardcore series before the D2R announcement and before I did like major changes to the channel. By major changes, I mean all the previous Let's Plays were hidden, moved over to the new channel. The hidden ones, they're unlisted. You can still watch them. They just don't show up on the video feed. But they'll be moving over to the Let's Play channel eventually. But it's just a slow process of that because, you know, rendering all those can take for freaking ever. Yeah, you can do Leaf plus Fissure as soon as you get it. In single player. I'm not in single player, though. Otherwise, I would. I would totally do that just to get some levels. Make the rest of the game super trivial. It's kind of like whenever you get the Poison Javelins up and running on the Amazon in normal. That can just murder everything, even on players 8. Anything you should know about Whirlwind and D2R? It's not as strong as it was back in the day. I mean, that's in reference to D2 Legacy 1.14, as well as D2R. Because they nerfed it in... whenever the synergies came out. And also, you actually have reduced leech in general in Hell difficulty. Rune word for a barb and a smiter? Grief. Oh, armor rune word. Depends on what you're gonna be doing.
I need mana.
If I was gonna be going like after... like if it's something you don't need teleport for, then Chains of Honor is really nice. If it's something you do need teleport for, of course you're gonna have to go for Enigma. Let's go ahead and murder these guys. There it is. I do not like how this does not give as much of a light radius as I was hoping. Between 40 and 50. If you're looking for mid-level armors, usually it's going to either be smoke or stick with stealth. Stealth is pretty much just... I've beaten hell in it multiple times with every single class, so... yeah, Nephilim for smoke. Getting that lum can be a little bit of a pain in the ass. Don't get me wrong, but it is totally worth it if you can find a lum. And no, I'm not terribly worried about getting the Druid summons up. This is just from a helmet. I don't even have points in it. It's not really that important. As long as we are on the Druid, what spec do you prefer? You really like Summoner, but it's... yeah, Summoner is absolutely slow as hell. Even with the, like, endgame setup I was testing on it, it's slow. It's doable. I mean, the bear can, like, two-shot things in hell difficulty, but it's just not reasonable to do that. it's endgame gear just for something that isn't nearly as fast. It's fun, don't get me wrong, it's just not necessary. I'm level 20 right now. Yens. As far as smoke, it's not really necessary to make that stuff in higher level armor. That's another thing with like Enigma and stuff like that. Yeah, it's nice to have a little bit more defense, but it's not going to make that big of a difference. As long as you are leveled up appropriately, you are going to have a fairly good chance of not getting hit.
I can't carry anymore.
Now, would I make it in like normal difficulty armor? Probably not. I wouldn't like make a breastplate Enigma. It's too easy to get a 3-socket armor for at least exceptional quality. And the only reason I actually even use the Archon plate ones is aesthetics, which honestly has changed. My opinion has changed over time to preferring like studded leather and stuff like that. Why do I use the wolf instead of the bear? 1, I'm not level 30. And bear is level 30. And 2, I don't actually have any points in this. It's just, it's from the helmet. It's free. So, are they good? No. But you actually can use the dire wolves if you want to. But whenever I'm doing in the summoner things, the bear is just more consistent because you don't have to worry about getting corpses for it to eat before it gets strong. And I hate that noise. And yes, I am checking up here. This is probably not it, but we're gonna check it anyway. Yeah, this is just dead end. What level should you respec a smiter? Personally, I never respec fully into smite. Smite is always a support skill for me. So I'll be like a hammered in with smite or a zealot with smite. Never just straight smite. Would it ever be worth using the socket quest on a really good druid helm? No. Reason being is your really good druid helm is going to be too high of an eye level and it's going to give you 3 sockets. You could go for delirium, but it really kind of depends on what kind of build you're doing. And the druid actually has to get too close to really want to be deliriuming up. There we go. Sorry. You hate it when the wolves whine when they get hit? Yeah. Sorry, little dude. Especially since they do it on every tick of damage, so they just wail whenever it's a firewall or something like that. And yes, I much prefer the aesthetic of the leather armors. Smite is a very specific use case. I think if it wasn't for the Ubers, it wouldn't be anywhere near as popular because then you just have like a handful of PvP uses. That's about it. Because is it good versus normal bosses? Yeah, but you can do normal bosses with pretty much anything. But I always throw smite in as a support skill rather than a main skill. Because you're going to get Holy Shield on most Paladin builds anyway. You might as well max that out and get 1 point in smite, and boom, you're set. You never have to worry about it again. And Zealot Smite overlap is pretty straightforward. For Druid, the helmet slot, I usually go, yeah, whatever the best one I can find is. Jalal's main isn't bad. Shaco isn't bad. Honestly, Delirium isn't terrible, but generally speaking, I don't use it. Obviously, rare Druid helmets are going to be a lot better. Oh, thank you for the sub, Fetal. I appreciate it. I would say thank you for subbing to a lot of people, but the ticker that tells me people have subbed is not real time, so it's kind of like, oh. It's just kind of like, meh. As far as what kind of information it gives me, like, the most recent one it tells me is 5 hours ago. Yep, Duriel next. We'll just toss these on the ground.
Greetings.
Give me that. And yes, I am drinking potions.
Thanks.
I probably should have done this after going to get the mercenary bug, but it's fine. We drank enough to last it. Let's see. Oh, you subbed on the Runeward videos? Oh, I'm glad they're helpful. And got on now. Hey, yeah, welcome Pluto. How's it going? Just looted Jalal's last night, planning to change your Wind Druid to a Shapeshifter. Shapeshifter is good with Jalal's as well. Jalal's is just a really nice helmet. So we want to go ahead and bug the Mercenary for this. We can tank for him. And the other advantage of the belt thing is you can shift and do them as well to give them to your Mercenary. Rather than having to drag... Oh, I keep forgetting. Guess what? You guys get to get unsummoned. Because dogs can open doors. Mercenary cannot. Oh, I drank a whole bunch of thawing potions because each of them adds 30 seconds to the duration. So now I have several minutes of 85% cold resist. Hi, dude. How you doing? And also, I just bugged the Mercenary, so Duriel probably won't focus on him. I'm actually surprised people are discovering the old streams. That always kind of like bewilders me because they are. What I do is after the stream's over, I set them to unlisted, so it doesn't like spam up the video feed. But yeah, people have been jumping on those. So let's see. Talrasha's Tomb. So now we have a bugged Mercenary. We have our potions not set up. Because I'm a dumbass. Apologies. We need our potions. We have 85% cold resist, and I'm just wasting all those thawing potions, and it's probably pissing some people off. Going to take 4 extras, just in case. You can thaw... I wouldn't say that's an entire session, but yes, you could chug 100 of them. Um, 100 of them would give you 3,000 seconds. So that would be about what? 500 minutes? I don't know. Where do you farm poleaxe? I can't math right now. Where do you farm poleaxes if you're for your mercenary and the progression? For instance, the insight rune. At what level do you think it's a good time to upgrade them? I actually run a bill because it's easier to get, but you can get them from normal cows. Basically, we went through Act 2. That's what you missed. We're doing okay now. Duriel's having a day. running in circles with me. And this is Fissure against a boss, which is hilarious to me because he's so big that you're bound to get vents on him. Hey, we got a rare jewel. So is it going to be any good? No. There you go. Actually, that's not terrible. I mean, I'm not going to use it for anything, but I'll probably throw it into something for a mercenary. Are you able to upgrade socketed items? No. 3,600 seconds. Yeah. So it'd be 50 minutes. Half a minute per potion times one. Yeah. My brain, no work right now. If you couldn't tell. Didn't know 4 open socket could drop from normal. They can't. What it is you're doing cows for a specific item level, and then you're using Larzik to socket it up to 4. They don't naturally drop there. If you have... But anyway, if you have the whole socket quest open, you can actually do the socket there. Whereas if you are in... Yeah. Okay. Sorry, but you're going to go on a timeout. Sorry about that. Let's see. Let's get everything back up and running. Sorry, brain fart and distracted. So anyway, pole axes. You're going to get them from normal cows. You socket them at Larzik, it becomes 4 sockets. You can find 4 socket ones from Nightmare, but that's just going through. If you're lucky, you're lucky. If not, you're not. So, and Nightmare, the drop is limited to 4 sockets. So, if you farm in Nightmare, you're going to find 4 socket stuff. That's one reason why Threshers are actually really good to farm in Nightmare. Okay, that's all that is. Okay. Up to loot go lane. Sorry. Was having to deal with some moderator stuff. But no, you're not able to upgrade anything besides rares and uniques. Where are you, Jaren? Come out here. But yeah, I just, usually if I'm just in a hurry to get it, I'll make a bill out of it. In fact, we currently have a 4-socket. That's actually what we have our inside in for this character. We have a Thresher for the Sorceress one. He'll be able to use it in A level, give or take.
Good day. Well,
hi, Rotley. I should probably repair while I'm here.
yes.
Time for Act 3. The most joyful act in the entire game. Cancel, everyone. Nah.
I've not.
Is Duriel a guy or a girl? If I go by the lore correctly, I'm pretty sure Duriel is male. But don't quote me on that. So let's see. Yeah, 27 is our next level that we get something good. Do I want all 3 of these? I forget whether this... Yeah, it's 3 for the Magic Find. So we'll stick with that for Magic Find. I'm playing online. But that's just because we're going to get these characters through online so we can do group stuff and things like that. You beat normal on your Summon Necro last night at level 35. Yeah, Summon Necro is pretty fun. Diablo is a pain in the ass for it, but other than that, it's pretty easy. good thing about Act 3 is that you can just run to the other end for the most part, unless you do not get a Great Marsh skip, in which case, eh. Or if you go into Great Marsh and you don't have a Great Marsh connect, which is another possibility. What I hate is going through, I really do hate going through Great Marsh and having it not be a connect. Holy butt, that infuriates me, because then I have to spend forever finding it in Spider, because usually I will walk the entirety of Spider before going into Great Marsh. They're demons. Getting some Magic Vine early on in character is good for progression, yes. It's also good for getting some of the like harder to get low-level sets and uniques, which are really good for starting new characters. Which is one thing that... Come on, come across the bridge, you dinguses. And this is actually a good area to talk about that spawning thing we were talking about earlier. Because, generally speaking, the areas here have one too many mobs, so you won't see everything. Like, you can get a Gloam-free marsh if they spawn all the other ones, but Gloam is just like the one left out. Aesthetically, yes. Act 3 is cool. It's a deviation from what you were expecting, especially back in the day. Because back in the day, we just had this, like, we just had a dungeon that you were crawling through, and that was it.
Not enough mana. I need mana.
Let's see, just a second. Let me go ahead and load these up real quick. Got a level 42 source. She's Fire Source running a Leaf Staff. Would it make sense to keep the Leaf Staff and dual spec into Orb and Fire Blast? Personally, I would get Spirit if at all possible. Just find yourself a Broadsword in Nightmare or in normal cows and make that and just have just whatever shield you can find. Ancient's Pledge works well. But yes, going Fire and Orb is a very good combo. And yeah, Diablo 3 versus Diablo 2 is going to be an argument for, like, ever, probably. There's probably going to be an argument about them versus Diablo 4. But for the most part, they're both good games in their own right. Diablo 3 is much more arcadey, whereas Diablo 2 is a lot more kind of, like, gritty, if that makes sense. So it's just whatever you're in the mood for at the time. Like, sometimes I don't feel like playing Metroidvanias, so I won't. But I do like Metroidvanias. Let's see. Yeah, Diablo 1 is based on old roguelites. It was almost turn-based, for those of you that are really curious. It was indeed almost turn-based. What am I hoping for in Diablo 4? Them to move away from the always online requirement, first of all. But that's not going to happen. Honestly, other than that, it just seems like an action RPG that's worth trying. I just hate always online requirements. Let's see. D2R needs some extra endgame content. Yes, it would be very nice. They need to do something with the portals in Act 5, in my opinion, if they want endgame content. Basically have an item that can drop from those in Hell that sends you to kind of like a maps kind of thing. And it would be kind of fun. Make it drop from the chest if you want. You played Diablo 2 when you were 16. The visuals and music more terrifying than Diablo 3. Yeah, Diablo 3 was cartoonish. It's, like I said, it's more arcadey. That doesn't mean it's a bad game. It just means it's not a Diablo, in my mind. It's just, it's another good action RPG. I'll play other action RPGs. I like Torchlight, and that's really cartoony. But to each their own. Can you play D2R offline without an internet connection? Yes, but it has to check in every now and then, which is a little bit irritating, but There's probably going to be a bypass for that eventually, if not already. Let's see. Druid does very well with a Great Axe as it has a very fast attack speed, especially with a Shapeshifter Druid. Not so much for a Summon Druid. Yeah. I prefer Pole Arms. You can get them relatively fast as well. But yeah, Great Axes are fine too. But yeah, always online is one of the main things I absolutely hate about Diablo 3. But I also have a grudge against Diablo 3, so I'm not entirely objective on it. Because what happened is I was in the Diablo 3 beta. Da-da-da-da. I've told this story a million times. But basically, I was in the Diablo 3 beta, got to play it while it was downloading. As soon as it finished downloading, it threw up an error that said my video card was not compatible, even though I'd been playing it the entire time it had been downloading, and it wouldn't let me play it. If Diablo 3 had Diablo 2's itemization, it would be better, but Diablo 3's itemization is very... We want you to spend your time here and not bother just kind of like trading up. If that makes sense. Diablo 2's more of a, here's the really great endgame stuff, but here's some options to get you in between. Like, there are plenty of alternative items. Like, if you wanted Ribcracker, there's plenty of other items that can fill that role. And it has one of the best itemizations of any action RPG, in my opinion. The whole infinite scaling thing Diablo 3 does kind of kills excitement for loot drops. Yeah. Got it on Xbox, and then you and your buddy kept getting the same legendaries over and over. That killed it quick. Yeah. I forget if they've added any extra variety. At the beginning, there was not a lot of variety in Diablo 3. But they've been adding like sets and stuff like that, if I remember correctly. I did not know that about the Switch version. I don't have the Switch version, unfortunately. One thing you think Diablo 3 got right was specific class loot drop? Yes and no. While I can understand, like, yeah, having it favor the class that you're playing so you can get better stuff for that class, I think the idea of having it drop other class items and having them not be soulbound is actually a good way to get people to play the other classes. Because, like, let's say you're playing through as a Druid and you're really liking the Druid, and then you get a really good Barbarian helm. You're like, oh, I could make a Barbarian now because I have this really good helm. I hate farming too. That's why often on these... I got it out of the way very early. I spent basically a good chunk of 2 years just grinding Diablo 2 for all the content you see in the single-player version. So... Love to see them use Bartuk in Act 5 as a way of bringing back the Warlord of Blood. Interesting. Okay, where is our hole in the ground? We are totally not finding Spider... Oh, no, we're not finding Spider Cavern at all. Let's see. What am I missing on the map? It's probably just there. I don't think we're going to have a skip. My fun from games like this is coming up with new builds and playing with weird builds. I usually, whenever I'm playing just for myself, I'm not running a cookie cutter. I have, like, bow druids and stuff like that, in case you're wondering. But yeah, Diablo 3 items, it's all about the bigger numbers. That's what Diablo 3 is to me. Which it leads to its arcadey feel. And yes, I'm going an alternate route for more XP. And our chance to hit is absolutely atrocious. And I think we actually want to do this and go through the front door because it's closer to that. And by the way, bow druids can be shapeshifters as well. You just can't shoot in shapeshifted form. So let's see. Fill those up. And we're ready to keep going. Level 21. So map-wise, it can't be back there. So it's got to be on this corner. The transition as well as. So I guess we just go bloop. Have I tried playing with a gamepad? A little bit. Whenever we do the assassin, I'm going to be... Unless something happens, I'm going to probably be trying out martial arts assassin with a gamepad. Because I keep hearing people say it's really good. So I'm going to try it. If it's not really good, I'm going to blame all of you. I don't know if ethereal weapons in Diablo 3 are permanent now or not. I mean, I heard all the hoopla about it, but I don't know enough about Diablo 3 to really be as invested in it. Oh, they'll release Diablo 4. This is probably a test of the engine for Diablo 4 as far as the graphics engine, in case anybody's really curious. Diablo 4 is probably going to look a lot like Diablo 2 Resurrected, with some changes based on feedback, of course, to try and sell more copies. A Gavel of Pain Werebear. I have not tried that. That would be slow as balls, though. Eth weapons are a season thing. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of like tacking extra things on each season either. You can confirm assassin is fun with controller. Okay. Yeah, which one is better just depends on who you are. Everyone has their preferences. Some people love action RPGs, some people prefer JRPGs. I like both. That's why I play Final Fantasy and Diablo. And Baldur's Gate. And Pathfinder. And, yeah, I like video games. And I really hate that little, like, graphical glitch whenever those things die. They need to fix that. Like, yesterday. Let's see. Controller is good. Running Lightning Javas on it's very nice. Inventory management could be better. Yeah. Mouse and keyboard for inventory management. Why would Assassin be fun with a controller? Because the charge skills would be a lot easier to combo together with a controller. Instead of having to flip through this over here on the right, the little down there, I could actually just have them each assigned to a button, so we could have like a 3 combo going. Press one of them twice, the another one once, and get the attack we want. I actually like action JRPGs. I really liked Ononaki, but a lot of people really panned that one. I liked it. I found it enjoyable to play, especially once I got to the late game. And yes, we ended up beating it, and I have done part of a second playthrough of it, just off camera, because I enjoyed it. So we might as well check for the waypoint since we're in here. You play D2R on consoles, it's easier on your hands. Well, you can use the controller on PC too. That's one reason why I'm tempted. Because I've been thinking about rearranging. Hey, there's our Jade figurine, finally. Oh, yeah. There we go. Stout nail, in case anybody's interested in it. I don't like it that much. It's not bad. It's just not great. It's got damage reduction. If we were worried about snakes, it's just like, whatever. I like the beetle to redesign, but I agree the vulture redesign does not do it for me. The vulture redesign is very... They have too much leg. The beetle ones just look like... oh, crap. I'm trying to remember the name of it. It's an anime. I just can't remember the name of it. Well, the other thing on PS5 that sucks is you don't have lobbies. I think I'm going to do probably a 1-month review of the game, which is closing in, but I think I'm going to probably do a 1-month kind of opinion as far as progress so far. And some guesstimation as to whenever we'll see ladder and stuff like that. You're interested in Lost Ark just because somebody described it as Dynasty Warriors as a Diablo game? I'm not big on MMOs. It's the only reason Lost Ark's been kind of like... I mean, I've heard of it, but that's the main reason Lost Ark is just kind of on the back burner kind of thing. Genshin Impact being a gacha game is another reason why that one's on a back burner as well. Inventory management's always going to be kind of pants. I would probably do something like Diablo 1's inventory management on console. Or go full bore Diablo 3 and just have that weird little menu that they have on console. I need to sell some stuff. That is a very stupid wand, but it's going to be worth some money. Not having lobbies is the only reason you haven't picked up D2R on console? Yeah. I need to see if this will actually run on, like, my really, really old recording computer. It's got a 7-something in it. It's old. I want to say it's like a 760 or something like that, or 780. But I want to see if it'll run on that at all. Because if it will, I could hook it up to my TV and play on there.
Not enough mana.
Let's see. It feels about the same as normal damage. One thing I probably wouldn't notice if they did change it would be the damage delay, because that's hard to pick up on randomly. Diablo 2 is 60 FPS, but the engine still runs at 25. Recommend that you rebind normal attack to different button, then X or whatever, so you're not attacking and picking up items at the same time. Yeah. Have a good one, Spencer. Let's see. Just through legacy settings on it and can run it on a calculator. It still doesn't like it. But I just need to test if it'll actually run on there. Did I ever play Marvel Heroes? No. It's been recommended many times. I never got around to it.
Not enough mana.
I mean, I've heard it's good, but... my opinion as far as to whether a game... I can't really just buy a game based on who designed it, because generally speaking, unless it's the same team, you're not going to really get a similar experience just by the lead designer, unless it's a one-person thing too. Well, then mine would not be 60 FPS because the only system I would be able to play it on as far as console is PS4 or Switch. I'm not dead. Reports of my death have been greatly overrated. Let's see. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if people want me dead, but that's an entirely different discussion.
I need mana.
Yeah, next waypoint we find, I'm going to go ahead and go back to town and sell crap. If I remember. Would you sooner run Warcry Barb in leftover Source plus skill gear or Whirlwind Barb in full IK? I actually like Warcry Barb, so I'd probably go Warcry Barb in leftover Source gear. But you can do kind of both. You do Warcry and then you have... I personally don't like Whirlwind that much in modern versions of Diablo 2. But I would probably... I didn't want that skull. I'd probably go Berserker Concentration with Warcry. There needs to be a fix on the console. You can't move items into the Horadric Cube with a full inventory of charms. Yeah, that is actually kind of irritating. And this could be crossover. I don't think it is. I keep hitting O instead of I. One downside of the Druid spells, by the way, I can't hit those guys. What are some budget pieces you can get for a Poison Necromancer? That's a bit of an actual rough one. Poison Necromancers are not very budget friendly. I mean, it does okay damage, but you're basically just relying on lower resist and high poison damage. So your usual spirit and stuff like that. You don't really have a good minus poison resist source. So, unless you get a Death's Web. Which are kind of expensive because, guess what? That build started trending for a while, and it's just never stopped. That hurt. That hurt. That hurt. Ouch. 2 healing potions off of that one. Let's see. Yeah, identification of cubed items would be nice too. I don't run full inventory, by the way, so console would not irritate me nearly as much in that regard. One-handed weapon, 85% chance of magic items falling out. This is a cool item. That sounds like 85% magic find. Sounds like you are... Ah, damn it. You found Alibaba, and it goes up based on level. Yeah, you get 3-piece Trang, but that's still not cheap. I consider cheap something you can farm for in single player by yourself. That's my idea of budget. My definition of budget is something you can reasonably farm for yourself offline. But that you could trade for like low runes and stuff like that online. And so one version of Necro you want to play, I guess you'll be grinding a lot. If you have another character and you're going to be grinding for stuff, grind some level 85 areas and try to get D-Web. That will make the like biggest difference in playing a Poison Necro. I've farmed with a Poison Necro for a very long time. After I found the D-web, of course. Let's go ahead and summon some stuff up. Hi. Wow, the downside of these guys is that it misses a lot. Because these are a little bit... Yeah, there you go. Oh, wow, that took out a bunch of them. Sweet. Let's see. Summon Necro when you got a couple hours to kill and relax. Bone Necro when you go... Yeah. Bone Necro is just like the consistent Necromancer build. A lot of people dismiss it because, oh no, it's not killing things in one shot. It is just the most survivable, reasonable damage. I think it is like the center point for balance, in my opinion. That and just Zealots until you get Grief. Best early gear for a Fire Paladin? Anything you can hit fast with. The faster you swing, the better. A little bit of bleed doesn't hurt either, though. Like Malice and stuff like that can be nice. But early on, you really don't need good gear for the Fire Aura Druid, because generally speaking, that's just a normal difficulty build. You're generally not going to be going past about Act 3 Nightmare with it. Let's see. How do you concentrate, Berserk, and Warcry interact? Please explain. Like, Warcry? I mean, are you talking about synergies, or are you just talking about as a build? You use Warcry to stun, and then you whack things in the face with Concentrate or Berserk. Because Warcry does not do a lot of damage. It is basically a stun effect. Let's see. What skill is that? Poison damage weakens enemies severely. Huh? I think I'm missing a word there. Is Grief the go-to for Zealots in game? Yes. Early game Holy Fire Aura ticks for a lot of damage over the course of time. Plus the levels is very strong. Yes, it is. Also, fast attack speed lets you deliver the massive, at least for normal difficulty, fire damage a lot quicker. Because it adds that fire damage to your weapon, and 100-something damage in normal is a lot of damage. Like right now, we're doing over 200 damage. That's why things are dying in one hit. Whenever they get hit by something, they dead. And yes, we will go back there. Reason I didn't put up a town portal is because I'm a dingus. We're waiting until we find the waypoint. What skill am I using right now? We are using a Fissure. I also have Bowling Ball, if we really need it. But for the most part, Fissure is just the one you go to. It's the lazy mode through normal. Because things will just run into it and die. And it actually does okay damage, too. If we wanted to stick with fire through Nightmare, we'd go Volcano. Any advice for where to get a Bear Rune? Hell difficulty. Generally, if I'm looking specifically for runes, I'm going to be doing stuff like Chaos Sanctuary, or a place where I can kill a lot of things really, really fast, like cows. That's where I'm going to farm for it, so. Took your starter Pally to Nightmare, Act 3, just using Rick Slots for the speed and Crushing Blow, yeah. And that's one way you can actually stretch those like normal difficulty builds out. With the right gear, you can stretch a normal difficulty build out to the end of Nightmare.
Yes.
So let's see. Magic Ring does him no good. It does us very little good. But we're going to keep it for a Zealot. You heard that shield on a shapeshifting druid isn't doing anything? No, it does stuff. You can block while shapeshifted. The thing is, when the druid block frames are absolute crap. Jabazon's a solid cow killer. A few sorceress builds are fairly solid at killing cows. Necromancers with Corpse Explosion are good at killing cows. A lot of things are really good at killing cows. Pretty much anything with really strong AoE. Do I want to do anything with that? Nah. For high runes, you tend to have the most luck with ghost enemies. That's because ghost enemies have what are known as junk drops. They don't have as many normal item drops, so they'll lean more into giving you things like potions, gems, runes, jewels, stuff like that. Chaos Sanctuary is really good because you have a bunch of finger mages which count as ghost type enemies in that regard, and they will drop more runes. They will drop more jewels, which makes them good in hell difficulty for getting rainbow facets. They're just all around good to farm. This magic ring does me no good. Take it back. Take it back with you. I don't want it. It's garbage. Okay, so let's see. 27 seems to be like our sweet spot level for a lot of this stuff. So it's going to be a while before we see that. Still no gold dagger, by the way. Javazon is very solid for killing cows. Lightning Fury with high pierce works out pretty solid. Although now that we don't have to worry about killing the Cow King, Necromancer will move up in that list. So will the Death Sentry Assassin. Should I farm only the left side of Chaos? You should. I mean, if you want to, you can. I farm the whole thing because you can still get plenty of good drops there. And the Finger Mages can spawn throughout. The left side is just the one boss mob and actually has a lower drop pool than other ones. You never had much luck with Lower Cuirass. I've only had good luck with it in single player. But if you're doing it online, what you want to do is go into level grinding games where they're having to teleport somewhere, like say a Bale run in Hell, and let them run there while there's like 7 or 8 people in the game. You teleport in a zigzag across the Lower Cuirass, trying to find them. If you find them, awesome. If not, you just go and join them for more XP. It's not like a consistent farm thing. It's not something where you're making game after game after game just for that. Let's see. You found a barb on your ring that's 115% attack rating, 20 fire, 20 lightning res. Pretty happy with that find. It's a pretty good find for normal and nightmare, and it'll actually help you out until you get something better like Raven Frost. Ah, you know Blitz. I used to do Minecraft with him. This is Diablo 2 Resurrected. It's an action RPG. Blitz is a good guy, by the way, for those of you who... He's a little bit more family-friendly than me. Just as a heads up. But he's a good guy. You should definitely check him out if you are looking for more comical games. For those of you wondering, it's Blitz Kriegsler. I forget how long ago he switched it to Blitz. But yeah, Blitz is cool. Wander's another one that I can recommend. Wanderbots. He was also in the Minecraft group we were in. I try to support my friends. Best so far is Travs and random mobs will magic find. Yeah, Trav is actually a really good place to find runes too, because they have high junk drops as well. You have good luck farming high runes in Great Marsh and Flare Jungle, just because of the number of enemies. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Great Marsh because Gloams are my mortal enemy. If I were, I am a druid. Haha. Yeah, we can actually claim our what's the term for it in D&D? My brain is farting and someone's going to have to tell me it, but the one where you actually have a specific enemy that you get, advantage against. That's the one that I'm using in my head right now. But yeah, Gloams are that enemy for me. I hate them. Let's see. This one, I think, is not one of the bad ones. This is Diablo 2 Resurrected. It's an action RPG that is a remake of a older game, about 21 years. Not really a remake, it's a remaster. It's a bit of spit and shine. favorite enemy. There we go. Possibly Nemesis. I don't know. And here we have a fire immune. Get him, mercenary. I'm going to pick somebody else's brain. Get him. What are you doing? Go. Thank you. Now we deal with his little friend. And that is Cathans. I am missing that, so I'm going to grab it. It's not good. I'm grabbing it, though. Just garbage. It's like, this is trash. I still want it. I want all my trash. I have a low set mule. Lower Cuirass is LK. And sometimes whenever people type it like that, I misread it as IK. Which is Immortal King. 21-year-old game. I did the beta in 99, so technically 22, but still.
Greetings.
We got a brain. Let's go ahead and identify Cathans. Can I press the right button? Thank you. That's going to get sold, but we want to keep this because I actually am looking for the rest of Cathans. We have the... We're missing the amulet, by the way. We have the mask, we have the staff, but we are missing the amulet. We have the ring. We have lots of the ring because I can't seem to find Angelic for the life of me. Oh, thank you for the subscribe, Boyman. Sounds like a superhero name. Boyman. Hurling small children at enemies for the life. That sounds like some kind of evil villain more than anything, but yeah. Currently I have the old version disabled because my hotkeys. Is it true loading time is lower in the old mode? I have not tried it. Probably not. When Ladder 1 starts, probably not right away. So I would not really rely on it being fairly soon. They need to resolve their server issues first. Diablo 1 is good, but it's a completely different game. It's as different from Diablo 2 as Diablo 2 is from Diablo 3. I love Diablo 1. I love Diablo 2. Diablo 3, I understand why people love it. I'm not big on arcadey games. So it is what it is. Let's see. Now we just actually follow the advice of the game and continue to head to the east. Always into the east. As they walk through my fissures of flame. That might actually be better for the mercenary. That is definitely better for the mercenary. Holy crap. I might keep that. It's actually not a bad armor with the 2 open sockets. That's a bunch of resist, poison length reduction, and a frost nova. So basically it's poor man's Holy Freeze mercenary armor. Can you share how to increase armor with L runes? I don't use L runes for that. Let's see. What are the powders in my inventory? Those are you combine the 4 different flavors of Kool-Aid powder to make. They look like Kool-Aid powder to me. I'm sorry, but you combine the 4 different flavors of them, and they become a token of absolution, which lets you respec even after you've used all of your respecs on a given character. Salarasha's armor worth using on anything except for a sorceress. It's not best in slot, but it's decent. If you have the right gear to go with it. Like, if you have part of the set, it can be decent. Let's put it that way. And obviously, if you have just garbage gear and you happen to find it, yeah, it's going to be better. Do you get rewards for playing ladder? Bragging rights. Have we covered how little I care about bragging rights? But yeah, you get bragging rights for being the first to 99 and stuff like that. They're also, if I remember correctly, they're actually going to keep it a catalog or something like that, or a listing, leaderboard or something like that that's more permanent for people who have gotten 99 who are at the top of the thing at the end of a season. Let's see, and these current live characters will stay around and be separately playable from ladder? Yes. Your normal characters will stick around forever. Ladder characters will stick around for the ladder, and then they will become normal characters. You can play online even after ladder starts, but Blizzard is supposed to add new stuff to ladder. Or, well, they're not supposed to add new stuff to the ladder. It's hoped they'll add new stuff to the ladder. They've never promised to make, like, ladder-specific perks and stuff like that. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if they just don't. How many play hours do I have? Way too many. Are we talking about just in D2R, or are we talking about in Diablo 2, period? Because I've played since technically 1999, which is before the game even released. So yes, I have a lot of play hours. The powders are indeed found separately. They come from act bosses in Hell. You get one powder from Duriel and Endariel. You get another one from Mephisto. Yet another one from Diablo. And your fourth one from Baal. And they just have a % chance to drop them. As far as runes to increase armor in the Project Cube, it only works on rares and uniques, first of all. If you're talking about increase it from a normal difficulty armor into an exceptional armor. It only works on rares and uniques, and it varies depending on... The formulas are on Ariat Summit. If you're determined to level up as a Poison Dagger Necro with the help from a main, what items, especially a weapon, would you suggest? Black Bogs, and get something either Arachnid's Mesh or something with a chance to cast Venom. Trust me on that one. You'll like it a lot more. It becomes a good boss killer. Because the way poison works is all your poison items, like your poison charms, your poison from other gear, your poison weapons, stuff like that, all get combined into one time, and that's actually combined with the venom time. And then that's balanced against your poison dagger. So it basically averages out the time and the amount of poison, so you have a lot more poison damage over a very short period of time. You'd play this, but you don't have a PC. It's on console, but the console experience is a mixed bag. It's not the best experience. The console version, people have complaints about. How am I planning to level this druid? Fire through normal and wind after? Yes. That's the plan with this one. We're kind of going cookie cutter so people can follow along, and if they're having trouble getting through, they can just look at the playthroughs of the streams, and they'll have a good reference for how to get through with that particular character with very little tweaked items. That's one reason why, well, one of multiple reasons why I don't take viewer items. But yeah, it's on pretty much all modern consoles. You're not going to be able to get a lot of multiplayer out of that unless you have a lot of people on your friends list with the game. You got a PS4? It'll run on PS4. I've got a PlayStation 4 too. I don't have this game for it though. I need to set that up, and actually there's a sequel that I believe it's called, not Metal Saga. Oh crap, it might actually be Metal Saga. But yeah, there's a very little known sequel on PlayStation 4 that I want to cover. That it's still shrink wrapped and everything. I've had it for about 6 months. It's supposed to be kind of mediocre, but it's based on a game that has very weird rules, and you are a tank as an RPG. It's very strange. This is how you leveled your druid. When you got enough gear at the end game, you swapped again to a fury druid to run and kill Ubers. Yeah, that's generally the roundabout way to do it. I'm not going to worry about Ubers online. Yeah, I could, but I personally, the Ubers, yeah, they're post-game content. They don't do much for me. My joy comes from making new characters and experimenting with builds more than anything. So that's why you'll often see me do a lot of different playthroughs, and why we've been able to get through how many seasons of Diablo 2 runs, and I'm still not bored of it. If you wanted to see a druid playthrough and you You'd get this only for multiplayer with friends. Druid is actually a fairly good multiplayer character, by the way. Yeah, he's not as overpowered in terms of multiplayer as the Necromancer and the Paladin, which are just like rocking it. But his spirits are really good for team play. He can get a really strong summon to distract stuff, and his elemental things are actually useful. How big is the map? It is 5 acts, and the map sizes vary. Usually, let's go ahead and go down here. Most areas are going to be about, I'm trying to think of how to describe it, 9 squares. Give or take. Sometimes they're up to like 12 or something like that, but a square is like that much space on the map. So each area is going to be like those, and you have 9 or 10 areas per thing. Never did Ubers in 20 years. Now you actually can do Ubers in single player now. And Smiter Paladin is what solos them. You got a Necro, Holy Freeze Pally, and gonna make a Druid next. Cool. I've had mixed luck with the Holy Freeze Paladin. I can see how it works, but I prefer Lightning. Although Holy Freeze is good for a Ranger, Lightning is still decent too. Ubers are just bosses that look like other bosses. Ubers are a pain in the butt because they can heal. That's their main difference from Act bosses. They actually have a passive heal stat, which is absolutely atrocious and makes them a nightmare for a lot of people. And is one reason why the variety of people that can actually... the variety of builds that can actually handle them are very limited. I want them to run through this. There you go. Come after me. God, I love Fissure. Oh, how do you know what mobs explode? You've seen that they do that sometimes. Any way to see which ones do? There's generally only certain mobs that explode. And it's just memorization as to which ones. All the little undead flayers, the little like skeleton pygmies, will explode and do physical damage. All the giant bulbous guys in Act 5 that look like Hunchback from Notre Dame took an ugly treatment, they are going to be cold and physical damage explosions. Beyond that, I'm trying to think if there's any other like exploders. I mean, yeah, uniques can explode if they're fire enchanted, but you'll see that up here. Like, see how it says drains mana and stamina at the top of the screen? It'll actually say fire enchanted, cold enchanted, lightning enchanted. Those actually will explode out stuff. Hey, Data. Man, I just called you a hard drive. Sorry. Oh, lordy. Actually, solid state drive. I don't think A-Data makes actual hard drives. You want to... okay. Go away, you bugs. That was a very loud chest. Okay, you want to ask... do I know... does... okay, MF Gold Find... if you know, does what have... like a Magic Find or Gold Find bug or something? If you have more Gold Find drop... no. Okay. This is... there is no bug with that. The way Magic Find and Gold Find works, like this right here. Let's go ahead and kill something. Right. Let's kill these guys. So whenever these guys die, as soon as they die, they roll against a table. On that table's gold. You have gems. You have potions. This is just a very rough version. It's a lot more complicated. But you also have items and stuff like that. Whenever they do that, they roll and say, okay, what item am I going to pick from this massive list of items? This one, it picked gold. Gold Find does not make it have more spots to find gold. It just means that whenever it does pick a spot that has gold in it, that gold number is multiplied by your Gold Find. So it does not make more gold drop. It makes gold drops have higher value. Magic Find, it has diminishing returns for uniques and stuff like that. But let's see if we can get just a normal item drop. Say those heavy gloves drop. What it's going to do, as it's going through the heavy gloves, it'll say, I'm going to drop heavy gloves. And it goes, first, are these heavy gloves unique? Yes or no? No? Okay. Are these gloves set? Yes or no? No? Okay. Are these gloves rare? Yes or no? No. Okay. Are these gloves magic? Yes or no? No. Then it says these gloves are white. Are these superior or inferior? And that's the order it goes in for it. And let's say, and it's worth noting there are more layers to that. Like if it goes, are these gloves unique? Yes. Oh, there are no uniques of this glove that can drop from this enemy. This is going to be rare with 3 times durability. For sets, it goes to magic at 2 times durability. And that's basically how they work. So it just kind of comes along and kind of... Yeah, there isn't a bug with that. High Magic Find is never worse unless it's slowing you down. Have a good one, boy man. May you have a very good evening. Or morning or afternoon, depending on whereabouts you are in the world. I think that was Maroka's outro. Yeah, basically if-else blocks. I've tried explaining it in code before, and people look at me like I'm crazy. Because that's actually something, if you guys are curious, whenever I was in college, I actually did study software engineering for a while. Am I good enough at it to get a job in it? No. But that's one thing that my instructors used to always get mad at me because my pseudocode was too close to code, because that's just how my brain works. My brain works similar to code. It just makes more sense to me. You're welcome. And yeah, we are going to start losing dogos, and they're going to shrill, and they're going to scream. And wow, we are one-shotting even the bosses. Sweet. Nice. Cute. I should probably grab the greater healing potion instead of the lesser ones, but it's fine. And we got a small charm, and I forgot about it. It's +6 life. It's going to be thrown away eventually. Yeah, there's no such thing as too much Magic Find unless you are, one, yeah, like you said, looking for runeward bases. It's also not really great if you're looking for, oh, crap. Let's go in there. But yeah, Magic Find, not really great to have too high if you're looking for crafting items. Generally, you want it kind of like in the middle. Yeah, it'll still ensure more blues drop, but it increases the chance of you getting a unique and stuff like that instead. You have about 300% Magic Find. Yeah, 300% is a fairly okay amount. Generally, that's a nice balance point. I usually aim for 250 to 300. Chances are they... Yeah, I'm not even going to respond to that one. You're picky with super potions on Hell. Diminishing returns are marginal at best for Magic Find. Yeah, it's real quick drop-off. Like, you need 1,000% to get a 3 times modifier on Unique Find. I am glad the Runeword videos are doing well for you. I'm going to do one for every single weapon, and yes, I will be covering clubs and stuff like that. They're probably going to get 2 videos. Because I'm going to probably do a video explaining the difference between clubs, maces, staff, all that fun jazz. Correct. Runes are not influenced by Magic Find. It says we're going to pull from the junk drop pool, we're going to pull a rune, we're going to pull this specific rune. You've been looking for Oculus 400 Magic Find in Helmeth. That's not a bad place. As long as you can kill Helmeth fast enough. It's not a bad place to look for it. Council's not bad. I forget if you can find Oculus from Nightmare Mephisto. I think you might be able to. Might be faster.
Good to see
I can look real quick. Boss. Unique item. Oculus. Where are you? Because I can just look real quick while we're on this screen before we get too deep down in there. Load. Thank you. For some reason, it's not loading super nicely lately. Where are you hiding? There you go. Find.
greetings.
Pretty sure you can find it on Nightmare Mephisto. Yeah, you can find it on Nightmare Mephisto. Might be faster to go that way. Where is my stream thing? There it is. Nightmare Mephisto would probably be better. Play hell, they said. It would be fun, they said. It's a challenge. Once you get used to it, it's actually not that bad. Okay, so we've got all three of those parts. We've got the Potion of Life. Why did it not leave that on? Show life and mana orb text. There we go. Let's see. Is Nightwings a good replacement for Shaco on a Blizzard Sorceress? I mean, it's not terrible. Where's a good place to find Ribcracker? Nightmare. Mike's take is best on a Warcraft. Oh, yeah. Believe Nightmare Diablo has the highest chance for Ribcracker. That sounds about right. Nightmare Diablo is also really good for Scolder's Ire. If you're looking for plus skills in Magic Find as a stopgap before Enigma. What best classes have set gears? Every class has a set gear. Most of them are absolute garbage. Yeah, Nightmare Diablo is a really good farm, by the way. For anyone who's like wondering about some of the secret farm areas that a lot of people don't do, Nightmare Diablo is one of them. I am not ashamed to say I have farmed Nightmare Diablo quite a bit as well, looking for specific items. I'm glad they're helping. So, oh, and we have all the town portals. Holy crap. Let's go back to Bazaar. Hopefully we'll eventually get most of them up. I think I'm debating on some of the unique ones actually giving advice on where to find the stuff, but at the same time, the thing is, the way the drops work is if you are hunting for a specific item, you're generally looking to get an area that is above the level requirement for it to drop, but low enough that you have a restriction on variety of item bases. It's hard for druids to farm Mephisto without TP charges, yeah. Honestly, that's one of the big reasons why I prefer farming with, like, farming River of Flame. I prefer farming Travancore, stuff like that, because you don't need teleport to do them. Hey, Father Howie, how's it going? Let's see. Trapsins is Hodo plus Spirit a viable PvP equipment? I'm not super up to date on the PvP meta. It would be decent. I mean, you could stunlock people with that and trap them. You don't have Enigma yet. Is it cool to just have a Telly Ami? Yeah. I mean, it's perfectly fine. It's going to be expensive to repair. It's one reason why people go for Teleport Staves, because you can get one without a bunch of plus skills. Whereas if you're running a Teleport Ami, you're usually going for dual function, which is plus skills, resist, and teleport charges. Which I guess for PvP wouldn't be a big deal, but for just... Wow, the lighting is so weird in this. But I would say Barbarian or Sorceress have the best class-specific sets, yes. Is this going to be 2 sockets? Yeah, I'm going to actually put tier runes in that. Barbarian and Sorceress do have the best class-specific sets. I'd probably put Necro at 3rd. Druid has one of the worst because his is kind of like a nightmare difficulty set, which is really just meh. You have a Nausea Staff, but weapon swap is a little buggy or delayed. It depends on platform, but yeah. There has always been a bit of a delay in it. Especially if you're playing like Legacy or something like that. Let's go ahead and dump that off. It costs so much to repair the staff, at least 80k gold. The amulet's going to be more. The amulet's going to be a lot more. You heard that you are the master in crafting. I wouldn't say I'm a master, but I do have a fairly decent understanding of it. Would I make a deep crafting video about crafting? There are a lot of crafted guide videos, but no one is deep enough for the not really new players. I do have one covering each of the crafted recipes, and there are crafting recipe videos that I've had, like where it's like my favorite ones and then my second favorite ones kind of stuff. But I could do like an entire crafting thing. I'm not sure how deep you'd want me to go, but I mean, it's not terrible. Hey, Kelvin, how's it going? Because the only thing I haven't really done a deep dive on is how the item levels of crafted items go. And that's pretty dry. Is there anything you could do to take less damage from Dark Rangers or range attacks in general? They only die from them while trying to farm Countess in Hell. Resist and actual percent damage reduction would help out a ton. Just started Barb on Legacy. What a dodge charger of a man. He is a bit of a hoss. Sadly, he's not the tankiest character in the game. It's always slightly disappointing. Is the lightsaber a viable weapon anymore? Yes. Is it the best in slot? No. Lightsaber's good. It's just Grief is better. I mean, Grief is even better for a Tesladin. Crescent Moon is probably your rune word equivalent, if you want to call it with that. And honestly, I'd actually prefer Crescent Moon over it, usually. You hate YouTube, you just got the notification of the live stream. If it's any consolation, I've gone like days without noticing that one of my friends streamed. So, sorry. And it's going okay, Kelvin. We have gotten one of the like low set items I was looking for. Yes, I look for low set items. Deal with it. I literally keep multiples of each set on single player just so I can make weird builds with them. And yeah, we're probably going to lose the mercenary here if I had to guess, but it's fine. So let's go. Ow! You are still alive over there? Stop being a dick. Wow, nothing is hitting him. There we go. Thank googly moogly. We'll grab the gold. Why not? If they try coming through the door, they're going to get crapped on. And no, I'm not worried about the fire damage. Nothing here is really going to hurt that much. But yeah, YouTube is finicky as hell. It always sadly has been. Honestly, the best way to know if I'm streaming is over on the Discord. Because my bot will spam the living snot out of my own Discord. It's not made by me, so it's literally someone else made it and I use it. But it just spams the crap out if I'm just streaming only on YouTube. It spams it every hour. You love full Alzorath's finery? Yeah, Rotha's fairly decent. All those resist. Angelic's Jewelry and Saigon's full set are making your normal Holy Fire Paladin OP. Keep the Angelic's Jewelry. You want 1 amulet, 2 rings. Keep them forever. Just trust me, it takes up 3 slots in your stash. You want them. Especially if you ever plan on doing Ubers. By the way, this is Soulflay. Nice to meet it. It's going to go there. Going to make ourselves the flail, and we're going to go after Mephisto. Mephisto. Yo, Jimbo? No. Mephisto. Have I ever tried the Hydra from Source? It used to be amazing. Now it's just kind of mediocre. There's a lot of people who give it a lot of crap for not being as amazing as the other skills. It's really not up to par with the other skills, but you can beat hell with it. It is reasonable to beat hell with. It's not going to be the fastest. It's not going to be the most like groundbreaking build or anything like that, but it's functional. If you're curious about my opinion on it. I should make a Hydra source just to explain that. That is one of the builds that I have not done in any of the seasons, is a Hydra source. Probably because people would be like, this is a terrible build. Why do you... No. It's just not as fast.
It's locked.
Same people who... The same people who get mad about the Hydra builds are the same ones who get mad about me recommending Orb so heavily for new players. Orb is about 1,000,000 times easier to use than Blizzard, and you don't have to worry about immunities. Your favorite starter pack for every character is Hasaru's set, Berserker's Angelic, Ami, Ring, Arm, Caligula's set. Okay. I'm not opposed to any of those. So that means that this is going to be straight across. Hopefully it's not too far and I can just walk back. And if you ever hear me like reference straight across or left turns or anything like that, it's because of map formation. Like I'm wagering that's the waypoint right there. Hey, let me in. Because that would fit map generation. See, it's the waypoint. But this came out... Okay, so this one's a bit weird because it's based off of the waypoint. Waypoint is usually a... You come out and you go left from the waypoint to actually find the thing. This is a terrible build. Why didn't you warn us? Oh, I did an entire like full season of just stupid builds through normal. Blizzard is very strong at killing bosses, and it's loved for the fact that it is really good for farming. It is not a spell that I recommend for going through the game unless you really know what you're doing, because it is a pain in the ass to aim unless you have like a very large stationary boss. Diablo 2 GPS. I know people are going to be like, you're copying Llama. No, I do need to do a Pathfinder's Guide. If I do a Pathfinder's Guide, it's going to be by act, so it's easier to navigate. It's one reason why I break up the Runeword videos by weapon type. I could just do one big one and get it all out of the way really fast, but then you have to go through and like, well, does this one work on polearms? Does this one work on swords? Does this one work on shields? Stuff like that. I like having them separate. You want to switch from Blizzard to Lightning? Do you need a Griffins to be a viable Hell Farmer? No. Generally speaking, Lightning's going to have a little bit of an issue without a second element. Like, I'll do Lightning Orb, but its main issue is that a lot of good farming areas have at least one Lightning immune that can spawn in them, which makes it frustrating. But if you have a Mercenary with Infinity or a lower resist wand, it's really easy to break lightning resist usually because they're very low. There was a pic on Facebook. He was clear whole map and didn't find the enter to Mephisto. That can happen. Yeah, there's whole like text pathfinding guides too. And even if you don't if after you've played a game long enough, even if you don't know how the maps generate, you start to get kind of like a second, like a sixth sense. There we go, not second sense. You start getting a sixth sense about how things are laid out, which makes it a lot easier to just kind of go through. And Mercenary is going to get murdered. I don't care, because we're going to rehire anyway. I don't care if he's behind on experience. You know what? I'm going to do this the easy way. Hey, Mephisto. Come here. Over here. Over here. Come on. Get on the stairs. Thank you. So I can talk while killing him. Let's see. Yes, and you do want a higher, faster cast rate with lightning. So you can actually get that. How do you know what items to pick up for gold value? That's kind of just something you learn after a while. Plus skills are usually pretty nice. And it depends on what you're talking about. Like, if you're talking Act 1 normal, you're going to pick up javelins and throwing knives for that. But if you're talking, say, Hell difficulty, you want elite armors, you want wands, you want staves, you want scepters, stuff like that. What's the best mercenary for a bone necro? I go Holy Freeze.
Mephisto's hatred was
I almost always go Holy Freeze. Hey, we got a unique that I was missing. For those of you wondering, a sword back? It's not bad. You could use it on Paladin. If you have this, you don't need Malice. And I was hoping they'd come charging up through that, but they did not. So they are just going to suffer. What skill would be good to pair with Hydras? Honestly, I would go Orb and Hydra if I was going to go Hydras. Because Orb has a fairly decent reach. The other option could be Glacial Spike and Hydra. I know that sounds a little counterintuitive, but it's kind of fun together. Because what you'll do is you'll drop out Hydras and you'll Glacial Spike to freeze something in place, so the Hydras can just focus it down. Malice is a very lovely weapon, yes. And I have one floating around somewhere. And that is Act 3 done. We're actually making fairly good time. Let's go ahead and Rect has seen. Okay, let's see. Oh, and do you recommend for Bone Necro 1 in Golem, GM, and Summon Mastery, Summon Resist? I recommend 1 in each of them, yes. 1 in Clay Golem, Golem Mastery, and 1 in Summon Resist. And that Golem will survive long enough, even in Hell difficulty, as long as you have just a handful of plus skills. You use that plus just focus in on like Bone Wall, Bone Spear, and Bone Prison. And if you can get it, the Bone Armor, the actual like Runeward Bone, is really good, and you can be darn near immortal to physical damage.
I'll put that to good use.
Yeah, some people get bored of Fireball and Meteor. Personally, I like Fireball Orb as just like the easy path through hell kind of thing. But the best build is the one that you have the most fun playing. So, definitely keep that in mind. Pet the Golem. The Clay Buddy is a lot of fun.
What do you need?
Oh, we don't have enough gold to repair that. Let's sell you. We are a little bit technically underleveled. As far as Mercenary goes, I'm actually going to... Where's that rare jewel? Did we actually sell the rare jewel? No, there it is. The mana does nothing, but the minimum damage helps.
I'll put that to good use.
There we go. Now he's a little bit better. What about Curses on Bone Necro? 1 in Amp for Mercenary, 1 in Decrep, or maybe Life Tap. Generally, it just kind of depends on what you prefer. If you're using Corpse Explosion, yes, 1 in Amp. If you're not going to be using Corpse Explosion, which is a personal preference, I personally don't mind using it, so I do get the point. But if you're not going to use Corpse Explosion, you don't need any of the right side, because your clay golem will slow the bosses down, and Decrepify just kind of helps that a little bit. I go Confuse. So you have Confuse Bone Wall and a clay golem. Everything's going to be slowed down by hitting the clay golem. You have the Bone Wall to keep things away from you, and you have the Confuse to have the ranged things punch each other in the face. For the Amazon is the only build to use the Lightning Javelin one. Any bow one's good. Strafe Zons are amazing. A lot of people dismiss them because you actually need a decent bow for it. Whereas the Javazon doesn't need anything. You love your golem, you wish you would live longer though. I mean, plus skills are the best way to that. I wouldn't dump a lot of points into a golem unless I was going with a Golem-Mancer hybrid. Let's see. What about Iron Golem? How do you feel about it? If you have good gear and you can kill quickly, the Iron Golem is a ton of fun. And it's actually kind of good for summoners if you have the right setup for it to keep it alive. But it can also be a very costly death. That said, you can also just run budget Iron Golems and just use whatever random sword or armor you find on the ground just to have another dude. In that case, he's about on par with the Fire Golem. Can you load up your Mercenary with Thawing Potions for minutes on end too? Yes. Ours has worn off, I think. Yeah, ours has worn off. But, yeah, they follow the same rules as you in that regard. The duration on Confuse in Hell, yes, is fairly short, but it's long enough. It is long enough with 1 point in plus skills. Like, usually I'll run either Dual Spirit or Spirit plus Splendor and Lore, and it's usually long enough. Golem-Mancers are not recommended for new players, but they are basically builds that focus in on making one of the golems extremely strong. Usually it's either hybrided with a melee necro or a summoner necro. I have not tried explicitly a Golem-Mancer in PD2. I did have the 5 clay golems, though, whenever I did Summoner in it. Because we beat Hell with it in Season 1 of Project Diablo 2, if I remember correctly. Or was it Season 2? It was one of them. But they're moving PD2 more towards PvP, and while I get the enjoyment of it, I don't really enjoy that as much anymore these days. That's why I don't have up-to-date stuff on the current PvP meta. Because I used to like doing PvP back in the day. It was fun. But I kind of got burned out on it. And I just never went back. And nowadays, I find PvP stuff doesn't necessarily make me terribly toxic, as long as I'm like doing PvP with friends. But if I'm doing PvP with strangers and people get salty, it kind of rubs off on me. Because I'm very prone to that, and yes, I know that's a fault of mine, but that's why I don't do that. It's not healthy for me, so I just don't. Is Iron Maiden effective with Bone Wall and Bone Prison? It can be. Generally, I don't like using that skill. Unless I am doing like a Golem versus an Act Boss. I'd rather do a Thorns Mercenary with a Amplify damage. Because you're going to get way more damage out of that. That water bottle just scared the crap out of me. It just popped. Yeah, 5 clay golems is pretty nasty. Curse is better used for Necro Summon, the Life Tap, or Amplify. Amplify. Hands down, Amplify. There's very few reasons to ever use Life Tap unless you're in a party. You want an Act 2 Might Mercenary and... Oh, wow, you are right here at the door. Hi. Been a while since I've had that. You know what? We're gonna go... There you go. I want to get right... Oh, we actually have jackasses. Damn it. What curse is better to use? But yeah, amplify damage. Is it possible to have more than one golem active? Not in vanilla Diablo 2. It is possible in some mods, and it is possible to mod the game to do that, but not in vanilla Diablo 2. Let's see if this actually does a little bit faster. He's a size 2, I think, maybe a size 3. So this is not as good. Eat that. Hey, Izzy, you are very glowy today. Please stop that.
Oblivion is his reward.
Oh, we're level 24 now. We can get Volcano. We'll take 1 point in it. But, yeah, we're not going to use it very much. I wish it was possible to have more than one clay golem at a time, but... And yes, I know we have an absolutely horrific... I hate these things. As a summon necro, they do physical damage. How do you kill physical immunes? Amplify damage. Amplify damage removes the physical immunity. All physical immunes are 100% resistant. Unless they're stone skin. And even if they're stone skin, usually they're easily broken with it. I say usually, not always. And that was a very good layout, by the way. I'm really surprised we got that. That means we're going to have a really weird Act 5. Knowing my luck. But we might actually get through Act 5 today. We'll be in Nightmare next time, which is nice. Is Combustion and Holy Bolt still a thing in PD2? It was in Season 2. I don't know if it still is. Because I haven't played Season 3 or later, because they were shifting towards PvP, and I was like, eh. But yeah, if you're doing summons with skeletons and stuff like that, amplify damage is nice. Why the spirit beelines towards them, I really still don't know. You'd think they'd give it a runaway script, but no. Early Izzy, early city. Yeah, and it was just like right there. It was the first spawn location we looked at. For those of you wondering, yes, there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 spawn locations for it. Yeah, it's 8. It's either 8 or 9. I can't remember whether the top right has 3 spawn locations or not. Yeah, cooldowns suck. But if they weren't there, some skills would get nerfed. I can pretty much guarantee you of it. And yes, we are going to do Forge. I just want to get the waypoint first. I really wish, if the fire skills didn't have cooldown, it would be a lot more viable in Hell, by the way. For Summon Necro, do you only need Amplify and Iron Maiden? Or is it good to get other curses? You honestly, outside of normal difficulty, you don't need Iron Maiden. You get an Act 2 Thorns Mercenary and you just run it like that. But in normal difficulty, you do want that 1 point in Iron Maiden for dealing with the Act bosses. Amplify damage later on is generally just going to be better. For Summoner, I'm trying to think what other things I would probably use on. Dim Vision is not bad for dealing with things like gloams and stuff like that that can pierce through your allies, but it's not entirely necessary. Best rune words to make it through Nightmare Hardcore as a Hammer Paladin? Spirit. Ancient's Pledge. Although, actually, Dual Spirit is better. Because Paladin has the low strength requirement stuff. To cripify for bosses on later difficulties. If you have a Clay Golem, you don't really need it. I actually will usually go Amplify damage instead, just for that extra bit of damage. Because it can push them into the negatives. Depends on what you're doing, whether you want Might or Thorns. If you're trying to get through the game, I would go Thorns. If you're trying to farm an area, I would go Might. Reason being is Might will help you a lot more versus, like, the swarms of just regular enemies, but you want that return damage for bosses. So you use the Thorns Mercenary to let you defeat Diablo, Duriel, Bale, etc. There's our Urt rune. We've actually gotten every rune for Ancient's Pledge on this character, which is kind of uncommon. But, yeah. I usually go Thorns with amp damage for getting through Nightmare in Hell, just because the act bosses do 4 times damage to your minions. All of your summons get 4 times damage, and then that is reflected to them at even higher amounts with the Amplify damage and Thorns. If you're thinking of making a Poison Nova Necro, is it all useful in 8-player Bale runs, or would you be shunned? Honestly, it's not bad. Reason being is you use lower resist, which helps out your sorceress friends. An issue occurred while communicating with the game servers. Please check that you are connected to the internet and try again. That just means that you made games too fast. You're going to have to wait at least 30 seconds, if not a minute. And if you don't have queues in your area, you could possibly... Ooh, lovely. Actually, I don't mind Eth-runes. They're fairly decent. We used a bunch of them recently. Actually, I would rather not have a Dole rune drop. I have plenty of them. I have these 2 here, plus I have like 3 on another mule. I actually started condensing them down. We've gotten so many of them. Let's see. But yeah, we used several Eth-runes. So I'm kind of like trying to restock those a little bit. And yes, I know little dudes right there. I can still use this. Because I don't feel like talking to Kane and menuing. This will be a Wind Druid at respec. So Fissure can be used on the bridges in this act. Yes.
Greetings.
Fissure can be used on anything. It's just a matter of it can sometimes spawn the fissures outside of the thing and then it just doesn't show anything. Oh yeah, we need to sell you. Those are filled up. And yeah, those are 500 each. Returning player from Legacy? Not really returning. We've covered Diablo 2 on the channel since 2015. Technically, it was either 2015 or 2016. But I've played off and on since release. I haven't ever really completely quit, except for unless you count like a 4 or 5 year gap in there. What kind of year would you recommend for leveling a summon, plus stats and just defensive? Because summon do damage and do the mana, health, and kill work for summon. Mana, health, and kill do not work for summons. Plus resists will be your most important thing for your character. And plus skills. You also saw they fixed the charge bug. You're wondering how desync Hammerdens will function in PvP. You used to love Breath of the Dying charge engine, but it became unplayable. I have not tried that. Let's actually grab that. In case we need to swing. That's going to actually be a little bit more useful against act bosses. You have a 100 base dex and only 51% chance to block with a 75% Rondichet. That's 75% with your Holy Shield, I take it. Wish you were closer to max block. Yeah, it takes 200 something, if I remember correctly, to get max block at a decent level. Even with a Paladin. But max block on a Paladin is a lot easier to get than it is on most other characters. Oh, yeah, we have the wrong thing open. There we go. Stop! Ghost thing. Yeah, it'll charge into things. It's a dingus. But yeah, Holy Shield helps with that kind of stuff, but you're still going to need to invest several hundred at a decent level. Hammerdins, I usually do prefer max block over max Vite. I usually aim for at least 70%. And then once I start dropping close to 70%, I'll dump a few levels into Dex. Let's see. For Summon Necro, what rune word would you use for the Mercenary? There's a few options. There's Pride for concentration. There is... Go away, Pit Lord.
I need mana.
Infinity to let you hit more. Insight keeps your mana topped off. Usually if I'm on the cheap end, I almost always go Insight just because it makes my life easier. But if you're looking for maximizing damage, probably the concentration one. I think it's Pride. Off the top of my head. 99% sure it's Pride. You can survive without the mana, though, yes. It's just a matter of convenience. Because if you don't have Insight, you're going to be wanting one row of mana potions. They add a queue for logging into a 20-year-old game as an attempt to try and fix their servers from crashing. There's also, it's a slightly different environment. Because the reason being, you have a lot of streamers who jumped on this because it is trendy. And it will be trendy until the next big game. I mean, surprised New World didn't knock out more. But yeah, it'll be trendy for a while, then people will go back to PoE, or next big last epic release will be probably pretty popular, and they'll just jump ship off of Diablo 2. And you'll get a lot less I do not have a link to donate via PayPal, mainly because I don't have a business account on there. Pride Plus Beast Millionaire playstyle. Yup. That's really expensive. Best place if you're going to donate to the channel would either be Patreon or just straight through YouTube. Least best place would be through Twitch. But so you got your torch, which was a chance to cast level 10 Firestorm. Well, it does. You think it's awesome, so you decided to try Fire Druid out, got your Firestorm to level 10, and was very disappointed. It looks cool. It's not very functional. But yeah, through YouTube, I still get like 70%, 60-something percent. Elden Ring is going to be big too, unless it's buggy. And it's going to be buggy, but it's going to be big too. Well, every year has a lot of new games come out. I've been tempted to try some of the indie games that have been going through, but this channel will stay action RPGs. Fury Druid viable for Ubers? Yeah. Is it the best ever? No, but it's viable. Pretty much any physical build can be viable for Ubers, in case you're curious. Casters, not so much. It's just how much frustration are you willing to put up with? I mean, I could sit down and have the whole discussion about what the servers are actually going through right now. But basically, there's a choke point, and that choke point was not handled exceptionally well. It's having more servers isn't going to help very much. Unless you have a further stepped jump from it. Because basically what's happening is, instead of separate servers for each region, they're running a big centralized server that stores the characters, and then it updates itself from the regional servers. So, yeah, you have a choke point in that big central server, and I think that's where most of the issues are coming from, because that is the big server that's been going down lately, for those of you that are curious. It's not been the individual game servers. The individual game servers are freaking fine. It's all the updates to the character saves. What would the best boss killing strategy be for a summon, since you guess the boss is just... they only massacre them in normal. Telestomping is really handy, though, since you mentioned teleport. You don't actually TP out. You actually get decent summons to begin with. And yes, we are beating a thing to death. New World has had a ton of issues too. Every game that launches online is going to have issues on launch. It doesn't matter. Especially with the legacy code conflicting with the remaster. Some of the legacy code is conflicting with modern architecture kind of thing, yeah. I wouldn't really say it's disagreeing with the remaster proper, because this is just a skin on top pretty much. There are some things that are not just a skin, but for the most part it is running true to form, at least. I'd wager most of the legacy code is on the server end. Well, New World is basically, from what I can tell from watching streams, I don't have New World. I'm not interested in playing New World, but I have watched a few streams on it. It looks kind of like, oh crap, I'm trying to remember the name of that old PvP MMO where you take over other people's castles and stuff like that. Redemption, it eats corpses, first of all, which makes it kind of good for Neelathak, but it eats corpses and gives you life and mana. In normal difficulty, yes, you actually do run Iron Maiden and Clay Golem. In Nightmare difficulty, you run Thorns and Amp. For Summoner, that is. Fallout 76 was 100% playable on launch. Is it even playable yet? I mean, like, I'm asking seriously now. I didn't play Fallout 76 because I didn't really have that much interest in it. I like Fallout as a series. It's just, it's not something I'm going to go out of my way to get day one because I know them as developers. But lead him back. Nah, Guild Wars was a lot of PvE with a PvP arena attached. If I'm understanding New World right, you actually, don't you PvP in the wild, or is it only in arenas? Because I know you have, like, competing nations. Almost like, Sorry. Getting distracted to not get murdered. You have a viable low-leveling guide for Summon Necro. I have a budget guide for Nightmare in Hell. I don't recommend Summoner for new players, so I'd feel kind of... I may eventually make one for low level, just as like, this is how you do it, but I don't recommend it kind of situation. But I don't have... I have it on the list of potential starter series videos, but it's fairly low down on it. I played the old Fallouts first, the isometric ones. That's gonna get sold. This is a new game to console users. I think it'll add a lot of new players to the life of the game. Possibly. Drops are still free for all, yes. You plan on getting New World? I mean, if you enjoy it, the most important aspect of games is that you get what you are hoping for from it. If you're not getting what you anticipated from it, try and refund that shit, because it's not fit for purpose for you. But it is no one's place. Like, if you love what I consider like the shittiest game ever, that doesn't diminish how good that game is for you. It just means it's not good for me. And or someone's gonna die immediately on this.
Not even death can save you from me.
Yeah, just smack the mercenary, that's fine. Oh, I wasn't paying attention to it. Okay, anyway. It's up to you to PvP in New World. Okay, so you don't get like forced into it if you're just in the wrong place at the wrong time. And yes, we have plenty of gold to revive Mercenary if we need to. Did I remember? Yeah, I did. Okay.
Thank you, Hero, for putting Israel's tortured spirit to rest. May the light protect.
See, I don't mind free-for-all loot. I don't go into public games looking for drops, though. So, I mean, if you are going into public games looking for drops, then yeah, I can understand your frustration with it. But personally, it doesn't bother me one way or the other. Why are we not using Volcano? Oh, I feel so slow now. Man, that is the most jarring thing about this is whenever I die, getting my stealth back on changes everything. Ow. He's very runny this time, by the way. Which is a little bit irritating. Usually he'll like stay put and do his lightning shit, which lets this stuff sit on him a bit longer, but generally speaking, Diablo is going to be our slowest fight, in case anybody's curious. This is the one fight that's actually semi-frustrating on this character. Diablo 2 is your second favorite game. Favorite is City of Heroes. Cool. I've heard good things about that. Never got to play it, because paying monthly for a game is outside the scope of my abilities. Individual loot would force a compound loot, as there would be too much more loot created. Yeah. Let's go ahead. We'll get some more fissure going. Oh, we can only put so much into that. Let's go with... Could go more Oak Sage, but no, we'll go Firestorm. I want him out here if he's going to be runny. Where are you? There you are. I want him to stand still and actually like launch stuff up in the air. He's very angry today. Good lord. You're not forced into PvP. Oh, it's only in specific areas? That's good. I think the game I was thinking of was Shadowbane, by the way. As far as the PvP game I was thinking of. The code base for... Okay, let's see. 1 second and I'll actually address both comments that just came up. How long before the blank has entered the game? 100 high runes for $5.99. It's already on here. And second of all, one of the companies that's been doing that actually offered me $500 to advertise, $500 a month to advertise. And I'm like, I'm going to leave you on red because that's against the terms of service. If it tells you how profitable those things are and why they're able to buy accounts to keep spamming like that, even though they get banned, that's why. They just earn so much money from people actually going and buying it. Or they scam people out of their credit cards and make a bunch of money that way. The stars must align for my fissure to actually hit him while he's standing still. And no, I don't take sponsorships from things that I wouldn't use or that I can't recommend to somebody. Because if I were to take a sponsorship from something that I don't think would be a good service for people, I would feel dirty as hell. He looks pointier. Anyway. Nope. Another nope.
Impossible.
Oh, yeah, we're relatively full on there. But yeah, they have... There's been more than one company that has approached me, but only one gave like an actual number.
I knew.
And they've all been those ones that you see spamming in the general chat, the lobbies. Go ahead and get rid of you, and we'll do the other one in Act 5. Act 5 is going to be a little bit easier because things are cold. We are fire. Let's see. The code base for City of Heroes was leaked and the fact was revealed a couple of years ago, so now there's private, not legal, but non-profit COH servers running, like, for example, Homecoming. Yeah. I doubt they'll go after them because there's no way to play it now. Any breakpoints for point distribution for curses that you need? It's just area that increases. Area and duration. They're usually 1 point wonders. The only one that you sometimes will invest more in is lower resist, but even then, usually not worth it if you have plus skills. $25 grand for that. I will gladly take it. Fill up my potions. We'll even take some keys this time, just to have a stack. But no, there's not any like specific breakpoint distributions that you should really be aiming for on them. Is just enough of the minus resist on lower resist, or large enough area for the curses for you to actually hit everything you want, which plus skills usually does enough of. So it's not that big of a deal. Oh yeah, I need to actually keep some of that gold so I can repair and revive Mercenary. Then we'll dump it back in there so we don't accidentally lose it. Word of advice. Always dump your gold into the shared stash, not the personal stash. Let's see. Anything else I need here? Nope. We're going up the hill. Now, this actually works fairly good against those little teleporting imps, by the way. The fissure. It's just RNG luck as to whether it works good for you, but for me, it usually works pretty solid. Because they'll just teleport right onto it and just immediately die. Which refills my mana. Yeah, this place, really good experience. Between this stream and next stream, I'll probably end up grinding probably the top of the hill. Kill Shank and... oh, what's his face? The little frost boy. I can not remember his name right now. Can Fire Source break resistance? Some of the resists, yeah. It's not like an on or off switch. Resists are not immune, not immune. Immunity is literally just this thing has over 100% resist. So let's say you have a lower resist wand and you're trying to break resistances on a Fallen in Hell. Yeah, you can break that with a lower resist wand because their immunity is 100%. Whereas if you're trying to break it on, say Balrog or something like that, no, because that's 140% resist if I remember correctly, or 120%. Yeah, Eldritch is the one I was thinking about. Thank you. The Eldritch Horror at the top of this hill. That is a very blue. It's not as blue on the person, but still, that's very blue. You rolled a 40 Magic Fight Green Charm, Geed's Charm the other day. Awesome. I still think they should have named it Wirt's Charm. He was the original Gamble boy. He did it right. He charged you up front to even look. You used to be convinced back in the day that the faster you killed bosses, the better the loot drop. If you killed Shank within 3 seconds, drop unique. I mean, the faster you kill them, the more attempts at drops you get. So, I mean, it's not entirely wrong. But no, it doesn't actually have an influence on the drops. How fast you kill them. It just has an influence on how quickly you can start your next run. All superstition. Drop is kind of determined when they die. And I do love how these all get packed up in like these little areas, because that gives me a lot of mana back. Because I'm getting 4 mana per kill from my helmet alone. And I think we're getting, yeah, 2 from staff, 4 from helmet. And I think that's it, actually. That's still enough. Have a good evening, devil. I will tell Bellier when you see him tomorrow you're coming for his money. Okay, I will tell him. Hopefully we'll get to him tonight. I think I might run a little bit late, but I think we'll get him today. Depends on how my energy holds out. And I'm thinking, just as a heads up for those of you who are like watching regularly or who are watching the VOD later, because yes, this will be available. It's unlisted, but there's a streams shelf on the channel page. But for those of you watching, I'm going to be aiming for Tuesdays and Saturdays for streams. Anything that could actually transfer from your gear to your pets, you mean you have crushing blow on your gear, do minions get that somehow? No. Have a good one, Unicycle. Let's go ahead and get some more life. Let's drop. But no, you can't transfer any of that stuff to your characters. Only auras and stuff like that. This is not my first character. I've played Diablo 2 for years, and as far as D2R, this is our third start on stream. Not my third start in D2R, period. I've actually got some single-player characters I've been messing around with for footage reasons, but no, I don't really do PvP much. I'm not really super interested in PvP anymore. I burned out on it a long time ago, and it's generally not that healthy for me. And there's our socket quest as well. I like PvP in specific environments, but for the most part, it's just not good for me. Okay, all that's going to get sold. How does Ravenfrost Ring work on Cold Absorb? Just like every absorb. I do actually have a video for that. That explains all of that. Let's go ahead, and I should actually make a command for the bot for this, because that one's actually a fairly common question. Oh, come on, YouTube, stop. Fucking stop, please, for the love... I hate YouTube right now. Channel content. Damage. There you go. There's a link to it. Rah. You can bookmark that for later, or you can stay on the stream and watch, or you can watch it right now. It basically explains how absorb and the order that stuff works. And for those of you curious here, that's the link there. Just leave it on screen for a little bit. That's going to be a pain in the ass for anyone to type, but hey. It should still show up in the VOD chat over on the right. You just have to expand the chat. Remember playing on a school night way back and shouting, "Fucking hacker" in the office? Oh, wow. Yeah. Honestly, PvP, it can be a lot of fun, but it has to be in a conducive environment to actually be really enjoyable, in my opinion. Because otherwise, it just turns into trolling people. And there are some very toxic, I mean, not even just a little bit toxic, but very toxic PvP communities out there. And that's true of, like, every game, though. Where it's like, if you're not a god at PvP, you are going to get shunned by the community. It's like, fine, fuck off. Don't even pardon my French with that one. Just fuck off if you're going to be toxic. That's kind of my approach to it. Because there's people who will cheat and stuff like that. There's people who will camp corpses. There's people who will do all kinds of stupid stuff. You cannot tell me that is not hitting the demon hunt. For some reason, that just wasn't hitting the demon hunt. Insight Mercenary all the way or change to Infinity? We're going to be using Insight. I don't have an Infinity online. I have one offline. I probably still wouldn't use it on it, though, because I want to spam my physical damage. My Hurricane isn't going to be spammed very much, so I'm going to need the mana and all that fun stuff for physical. You just keep the Hurricane up to slow things around you. I would say this is going to sound... Some people are going to be like, that's not true. This game has such and such a toxic community. The reality is 90% of people in most games, from my experience, are not toxic. It's whether the company or the group kind of moderates itself to get rid of the toxic. Because 90% of people, I don't think are like going out there to be just trolls, like PKing people randomly in games and shit like that. That's not a thing most normal people do. Most normal people just want to have fun in a game. Abnormal people want to have fun by ruining the fun for other people. So... And I've met my fair share of dicks in every single game that I played. And heck, streaming, I've met my fair share of dicks in chat, too. But most people are actually cool. And that's true of, like, every platform. Even on Twitch, which is known for being a toxic environment. There are a lot of communities out there that are actually really cool communities that don't have a lot of toxic shits in them. It's a matter of, do you moderate that community and how much you moderate it. Personally, I try to remain as lax as possible, but if someone's going out of their way to like insult other people, I will just straight up mute them if I see it. Nerds just want to have fun. I cannot remember the actual pitches for that song. I know what song you're referring to, though. It's Girls Just Want to Have Fun. For those of you who are curious. So we've got the waypoint for this. And yeah, we are going to be running through a lot of this just because, frankly, it's a lot to just kind of like stand around killing things that run away. That, and I hate the sound whenever these guys launch their green snot stuff. I hate that sound. It drives me nuts. It like scratches a weird feeling in the back of my skull that makes me angry. So I don't like it. Let's see, what can share about all the different mercenaries? Guess Act 2 are the favorite because of the aura, but the other ones are even good. Yeah, the other ones are good. We actually have build videos for each of them. I'm going to be updating them as well. But Act 1 mercenaries actually are kind of good for summoners if you don't want to be using a might mercenary. They also can get, they're good for zealots and barbarians because they can get faith runeward on their bows, which is fairly strong as well. Thank you for the support, Solo. Yeah, people are ragey about stupid things. Do you ever farm for a tele wand? Tele staff. But usually I'll farm for one relatively early. Like if I'm doing ladder, I'll farm for it on the ladder. If I'm, like right now I have 2 teleport staffs on mule. Well, one's in shared stash, one's on a mule. But yeah, I will shop for those. You can shop for them as early as Act 3 normal, but I usually shop for them in Act 2 Nightmare, because Drognin is the easiest place to shop that kind of stuff, because you can get a map with him just like right next to the door. There's Thresh Socket. Can we kill him before he gets amp damage on us? Probably not. Oh, we did. Sweet. But yeah, I will farm for teleport staves. I don't use them on most of the characters because generally if I'm using a staff, I'm just going to use it for telestomping, which is a paladin and a necro thing. If I'm going to be using it on somebody else, I'd rather just wait until I get an enigma, honestly, because I can walk. Mercenary gonna die. Maybe. It cannot spawn on wands, but it can spawn on amulets. Amulets you have to find in the wild, though, or gamble for. Wands, you're going to be doing lower resist and sometimes life tap. If you're going to be doing Ubers, you want to get a life tap wand, too. But, yeah, other than that, not much to worry about. I mean, there's other spells you can get with wands and staves and stuff like that. It's just not really worth it usually for me. Those are the big ones that I look for. What I wish is that you could get amp damage charges, but no. You have to get that from striking. Well, there went Mercenary. Because these are bugged. Let's see. Let's go rescue Anya. Thankfully, in normal, we don't have to deal with Galomes down here. We just have to deal with Chargy Voice. So this one... I forget which layout this is. I want to say we want to be going left, but I could be wrong. We're about to level up. Sweet. And you may notice whenever I'm actually casting this, what I do is I'll drop it out and then I'll move back. That way enemies have to move through the full length of it if I drop it at my feet. Let's see. Are you sorry. Are you doing purely solo self-found, or will you eventually be looking for to trade for Jaw and Bear? For the most, it's not strictly solo self-found what I'm doing. Basically, I'm doing kind of like an insular account, if that makes sense. We did play with some other people, but mostly I just gave them some of my spare stuff rather than getting stuff from people, because frankly, I'd rather have you guys enjoy your stuff. I have plenty of crap in single player. I don't need more online. And I hear the zombies. So basically, it's like an account-wide solo self-found, if that makes sense. How good is the fire source with Infinity? It's not going to make a huge difference. Most of the places where there's a lot of like dangerous fire immunes, they're going to have a high enough fire resist for that not to break. But, I mean, some of the things you can break with it. For fire source, I generally don't focus on Infinity. It's not bad. I mean, don't let me dissuade you from trying it. It's just not my personal cup of tea. I'd rather have meditation. Let's see. Drop that out. Back up. Clocking out as always. You want to give some positive feedback. Thank you for answering questions. Hey, thank you for the support. You have a good night, and may you find all the magic items you ever wanted. And some uniques, too. Because we all know magic items. They're only sometimes useful. Jewelers of whatever are actually kind of fun. We have 2 evil urns. I don't... They should both spawn. Why are you not dying? Eat my stick.
I am overburdened.
I don't need the war spear. I do need a healing potion, though. And as always, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them either here or in comments on videos. Sorry, I'm concentrating. These guys will wreck your shit if you don't actually watch out for them a little bit. Because their charge attack does a ton of damage. But yeah, fire and cold, I generally favor insight. And I usually recommend going through your first time with a fire-cold sorceress. I will be doing a lightning orb sorceress relatively soon. Just for, like, video purposes. Just to give people options besides fireball. Because I know not everyone likes fireball / meteor kind of stuff. That's fine. And I like giving options for at least some variety. Unless it's like a trap build, like the summon in normal. And yes, I call it a trap build because it traps people. Eat my stick! How do you know I'm not like playing hockey or something? I'm not sure what you're asking with that one, but... OP? Oh. I was like... They seem like they're open? Like a door? Javazons aren't necessarily OP. They're just very functional and easy to make. They have very little gear requirements and all that kind of fun stuff. Generally speaking, I consider them about on par with probably a poison necro. Strong, but needs to consider what they're doing. Best farm spots for a tornado druid? Anywhere you damn well please. It's physical damage. So the thing is, you drop Hurricane to slow things down, but pretty much anywhere is fine with a tornado druid. He's not going to be as fast as certain things, but yeah. Have I ever made a melee source? Yes, a few. Both the old school versions and the newer ones. But yeah, pretty much anywhere you want with the Tornado Druid. Generally, I would avoid closed quarter areas. So things like ancient tunnels and the pit and stuff like that are perfectly fine. I would avoid going into places like, you know, Maggot Lair or the sewers. Even though those are level 83 areas. Well, there's actually level 85s in Maggot Lair too, but that's level 3 if I remember correctly. But yeah. Let's go ahead. We've rescued her. We should probably go grab that druid helmet. But yeah, since it's physical damage, you can go pretty much anywhere. Especially if you have a mercenary with, I'm trying to remember what it's called, Reaper's Toll. Yeah, the fire is pretty nice. Is it worth getting a teleport staff to speed runs up? Depending on what you're running and whether you have an abundance of gold. Because those teleport staffs do get expensive if you're using them constantly to run, especially if you're trying to be super efficient with it. I'd rather, actually, Hurricane, Tornado, and Chaos Sanctuary is really good for that because you don't have to teleport across. You just Hurricane and Tornado through the River of Flame. Everything's level 85 on your way there. Everything's level 85 in Chaos Sanctuary. You get good rune drops. Yeah, Chaos Sanctuary. They'll save you money on teleport. Just make sure your resists are good. So let's see. Crystalline Passage. Let's go ahead and start finding our way down to, well, Ancients next. Nothing else for us to do besides that. I don't bother with Neelathak on normal, period. Nightmare can be kind of fun with them, but not necessary. Hell difficulty, you do them to get keys if you want to. I'm still not particularly concerned about Ubers because that's like just post-game gear. By the time you're doing Ubers, unless you're doing it on specifically a smiter, you're generally going to have good enough gear to do the rest of the game. So Hellfire Torch is just icing on the cake. You found a low in your first gas run? Congratulations. Can't type anymore on this. You just need a new keyboard. That one has too many typos in it. It's fine. It's a running gag. I make that joke whenever I have a bunch of typos about my own keyboard. Usually it's caused by being tired or distracted. God, I hate the lower defense thing, but it's better than the mana burn. So, where are our stairs? It's going to be around the edge somewhere. I have a feeling it's going to be up here in the top right, but you never know. But yeah, low runes actually are used in a handful of pretty decent rune words. Grief, Fortitude, being the two that come to mind at first. Both really good rune words. And yeah, I'm not even bothering to revive the mercenary right now. We don't need him. So you have max faster cast rate on your Tornado Druid. Is there anything else I should focus on? Resists. Resists, mana recovery are both really good things to invest in. If you have like an Insight Mercenary, you don't really need to worry about the mana recovery part, but Reaper's Toll can actually be a good mercenary option if you have the mana consistency to not have... Oh, geez. Ouch. That charge hurt like a hell. Let's go ahead and grab that. Drop you. But yeah, faster cast rate, resists are your two main things. I mean, stats don't hurt, but yeah, those are the things I would actually be looking for. And yeah, if you're ever doing these areas, don't bother going through the middle. Go around the edge. Like if I had a teleport staff, I'd teleport across that gap right there and not even bother dealing with these guys. Because I have a feeling this is the waypoint. Because that looks like a waypoint path. It is! Nice. Not that we need this waypoint for anything, but it's nice. It's better than a sharp stick in the eye, at least. I think that's probably the cave. No, it's just a dead end. Okay. Neelathak, for the most part, as far as progression goes, yeah, he's kind of pointless. You can get him to get the... You have to kill him to get keys in hell difficulty, and that's about it. He has some okay drop tables, so it's not terrible, but Pindle's usually the thing that most people farm. Nil is just kind of like, meh. Whatever! So, do we think it's vertical or horizontal? I think it's horizontal. So I'm going to go this way. And I would be right. Otherwise, this would have been a different type of path. And yeah, I'm just dropping these randomly. We'll get some kills off of it just as we're running around because those little things will teleport onto it. Beyond that, we do not care about stopping to fight anything here. Let me out! There we go. He's good for keys in hell, otherwise, unless you want a Shaco with your name. Yeah. Personalized quest is cute. I don't usually bother with it. I do have some personalized quests that we've done over time, but yeah. Level 27. Ooh, we actually have unlocked items. There we go. Oh no, we've been chilled. You have max res 2. Merc just needs to repair Reaper's Toll, and he's got an F fort right now. Guillaume's Helm, yeah. Honestly, with Guillaume's Helm, I'd actually stick with Insight. If you had a different helmet, like, say, Worm Skull or something like that, then I'd consider Reaper's Toll a little bit higher priority, but no, you don't need to worry about it that much. Yeah, you're looking fine. That's a fine setup. That's about what I run in single player. So, let's see. I run Hodo, but that's about the main difference. You need keys to unlock these red portals that take you to get organs from Ubers. And the organs you combine in the cube to actually get... Let's go ahead and grab that. But yeah, the organs you combine in the cube to open a portal to Uber Tristram, where you fight a bunch of big bads. And whenever you beat those big bads, you get a thing called a torch, which gives a bunch of plus skills, Firestorm on attack, a whole bunch of other stuff. It's good, but it's generally going to be a nightmare for any new player to deal with the Ubers. So it's going to be a lot of farming for nothing unless you know what you're doing. Because they will murder your face. That and the things in those areas are super resistant to freaking everything. Okay, so that's the area at Summit, so we're going to go ahead and put up a portal there. We're going to go find the waypoint just in case I dum-dum up. So we need to go around the edge of this entire place. Get ourselves some free XP as well. And you can see this build just totally trounces everything. This and the Holy Fire Paladin are quick ways to get free socket quests, by the way. Because they can just charge through full speed, not worry about anything. Hellfire Torch, yeah. It's not easy or fast. Especially if you are doing it for the first few times. Personally, I don't care that much about them, so it's not like I really worry about it too much, but it is a thing. And was that a boss mob in there, or was I just being paranoid? I think I was just being paranoid. Yeah, Hellfire Torch is a very good item, but for the most part, it's not worth the trouble to get unless you are going for like a level 99 character or something like that. In which case, you're just doing it to maximize your power rather than... Or it's kind of useful for like normal PvP, I guess. But yeah, it's not really useful unless you're trying to just maximize your power, to min-max, basically. I need to be watching my life, by the way. Yeah, if you can beat Ubers, then that little bit of extra power isn't going to change much for you. Oh, you're running Suicide Branch? Okay. Honestly, you don't need max faster cast. It's nice, but it's not necessary. As long as you get it down to a reasonable number of frames, it's fine. Weirdly, a lot of my farming just comes from playing the game. But I'm also one of those people who makes a lot of different characters, so I have a lot of opportunities for a lot of different drops. Yeah, they're random plus skills as well. So you'll have to do it more than once. Haha! Especially if you want one for your specific class. And you'll almost never find the sorceress one because it's the most valuable one and you don't have that kind of good luck. But yeah, the reason why I find most of my stuff just going through is because I like going through the game and just doing solo self-found stuff, and then it just builds up over time. Like, oh, you find a Death's Web on this run. Your next character, you find like a Shaco and an Oculus. You like the gamble? Yeah, to each their own. Da 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 da. We now have lore. And it's not even Star Trek. I wish there was a way to destroy the item and get the runes out. Because they have one to destroy the runes and get the socketed item out. You have a +3 NATO, +3 Shivering Armor, Delirium Helmet. Don't know if that's best in slot. It's not necessarily best in slot, but it's good. It's the semi-economy version of 5 NATO helmet. Ideally, you'd want like a rare helmet with +2 all Druid skills or +3 to specifically elemental skills on a, if you get a magic one. Oh, Cyclone Armor. I figured you meant the defensive one. But basically, you want a rare Druid pelt with +2 skills, +3 tornado, and like mana resists, stuff like that. Delirium is like second tier to that. Harlequin crest is also a very solid option. It's not a necessity, but it's fun. You know what? We're going to use that for a while. Why not? Why the frick not? This gives us a little less damage, unfortunately. And now I'm going to revive the mercenary and replace it. Because we can get that helmet on them and start actually kitting them out. What level are we? Level 27. No, we're going to wait. We're going to wait until we're 29-ish. So we can hire a 27. Feel there are some updates coming to G2. New things, possibly quite a bit has changed already. That much has not changed. There's been some minor changes. There's been nothing major. You have +2 all Druid, 20 FCR Helm, 2 that you thought Delirium was better. Good to know. That would be a circlet. If you have 5 NATO is going to be better, which is what that Delirium is. The one I'm talking about is it's a rare pelt, basically, that you get with +2 and +3. So it's a 5 NATO still. You can't get faster cast on it, but you can get resists and stats and stuff like that. And yes, Jalal is just a consistently good helm. It's kind of like Ariat's Face is just a consistently good helm. Now, to murder these guys. Probably.
At last.
Time for the kites. Follow me, you fools. They're not too difficult. It's literally run in circles. That was a bad placement on my part, but I can work with it. And you are almost dead as well. Sweet.
Not enough mana.
Did he just like stop and like look away from me? There we go. We got him. Playing on console, you feel like you never get any charm? Probably not. Not on multiplayer. On single player, if you... I think you should be able to play single player on console. I'm not positive because I don't have this on console, but if you play single player, as long as you get 1 Stone of Jordan, you can summon Uber Diablo or Pandemonium Diablo, whatever the crap his name is, to get an Annihilus. Started your Druid 3 days ago. Very fun. Never played a Druid before, even back in 2000. Yeah, Druid is a fun one. He's in a weird place where he's not like the strongest build at anything, but he's just consistently good and entertaining. Now, stat bugging, Cold Mastery is not different. Cold Mastery is online has already been patched to be back the way LOD was. Single player alone is a big option due to the rune words and ladder. Yep, single players. The core mechanics of the game have not changed though. And you can enable ladder rune words in single player on Lord of Destruction really easily too. Reminds me I need to actually one of these days probably still make that MPQ. Just so people can replace it, especially since probably less likely to see people needing to get online with that enabled. Hey, Millinox, how's it going? We're slapping things in the face with a spirit sword to be completely dumb about this. I should offend some people and make a barbarian with dual spirits just run through the difficulties. Wouldn't really call it a dream item, just one of those things that's like, it's endgame. It's good. Especially for the space it takes. Cold Mastery for a while was breaking immunities, but they patched that out online. It's still not patched single player that I know of. I haven't tested it today, but yeah. Thing is, the way they had it whenever they released this, Resurrected, not the original, was that everything minus resist was breaking immunities, like if it was capable of knocking it down low enough. But I actually kind of liked that change to an extent. They just needed to give Cold Mastery diminishing returns. But no, they've kind of just reverted it back to the way it was. So that does limit a few builds. Brings back the same variety as before, but they changed the trigger Uber Diablo a bit. I hope they change it online. I would rather it be like, if you're online, spawn it on a per game basis. I would love it if they brought, even if it was just like 2 or 3 Stones of Jordan, to spawn it in your specific game. I'd be fine with that. Because that's a little bit more reasonable for people to do without basically buying teams to do it with. It's like, eh. That always feels kind of dirty to me. I get that it's supposed to be like a random event. Diablo walks the earth. Oh no, what am I going to do? But it's gotten to a point where the science behind it is just, we already know how it works. We're going to exploit it. We're going to profit off of it. Rather than doing it as intended, where people are selling these duped items to make it. Let's see. Took you 9 rolls to get a 35 Spirit Monarch. I still don't have a 35 one. I have 2 Spirit Monarchs, so I could start rolling them, but I still don't have a 35. I have a 35 sword. This one's, yeah. But I don't have a 35 shield. This was my second Spirit Sword. And it just gets transferred between this guy and the Sorceress. Yeah, just make it on a per game basis rather than server tracking and having to do all these weird things to figure out where it is. I'm not a big fan of account-bound items, but finding 3 SOJs yourself is a bit of a trial. Because even with the most efficient one, it's only 1 out of every 31 rings that will be a Stone of Jordan. From Nightmare and Dariel. And she's the most efficient way to find it. Yeah, and I'm really irritated that they don't have lobbies for consoles. I can deal with not having cross-play, like, between PC and consoles. I can deal with that, but the whole not having lobbies makes the game joining process for Diablo 2 really, really busted. And yeah, I'm running around in circles because I'm reading chat rather than focusing on the game. And I don't want to get aced by one of those guys. There's also an option for Uber Diablo in the Game Finder on console, but I don't get it. Don't know if that option is supposed to forward people to the right IP. It might. Make things a lot easier. Actually, that would be a nice one, Zach. Whenever you have a certain number of spawns in private games, or just a certain number of spawns on the servers, it'll spawn across all of the ones on those IPs. That would be kind of nice. You had one good bail run the other day. Yeah, that's because you can't name or join named games. Frankly, that really just buggers me up something awful. I have... Actually, I'm not even sure how many I've found. I've found quite a few. But that was like a couple years of concentrated farming. Do I use Hexfire for my Druid? I don't have a Hexfire. Not on Battle.net. Well, ow, 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 ow! Bugger off, you fools! That was actually painful. Don't do that to me. But no, if I have a choice of a weapon, it's going to be Hodo. But honestly, Spirit's fine. I'm not going to go out of my way to get a Hexfire. And I actually like the faster cast and the mana boost. It would be nice if they added a resurrected mode like Classic or LOD that had added content, balance some builds, or even new act. I don't think we'll ever see a new act. I think we might potentially, if there's enough demand for it, enough interest in it, we might see like some extra post-game stuff. But I don't think we'll ever see another act in Diablo 2. Yay, I didn't get ambushed. That's why I put up the town portal scroll, by the way. Running around in circles until you win is a great strategy. It works! Found other items are just as rare. Yeah, there's a lot of fun things. Spirit? There's its stats if you want to see it. But yeah, it gives 55% faster hit recovery. Shield does too. But yeah, it also, I mostly like it for the mana and the plus skills and the faster cast rate on this particular build. It is kind of funny on other builds. A lot of people are like really upset whenever I do make spirit swords and use them in melee, so I sometimes do it just to troll people, but it's still a good one. Yeah, Hodo and Grief are not necessarily always best in slot, but they are just definitely strong enough to carry any caster or melee character through the game, depending on which one you are. Honestly, I don't see them actually doing any modifications to Act 4, even though it is basically half an act, and there actually are sound assets for old Jamila. For those that are curious, yes, there are sound assets that a voice actor recorded for an older version of Jamila. God, I hate these guys. You know you're an addict when you have your spare Xbox running the BO Barb or Telesource for farming. There's a guy on that I've seen pictures of that actually has like 4 computers running it at once, which is ridiculous to me. Oh yeah, this guy is fire immune. Adoit. Okay, eat this. I don't need no stinking mercenary. Where would they go for an Act 6? Do you think Ubers are great post-game content? I would actually like to see just like dimensional rifts into like little hell areas through the red portals in Act 5. Make them somewhat useful and sought after. Keep them the low level that they are. Go ahead and back off. Just murdering all these things. Give me a minute. Yeah, a map system would be nice. Just link them to the red portals in Act 5 and you'd actually have everything. Do I ever feel like I could create the perfect action RPG? I could create the perfect action RPG for me. There is no such thing as a perfect game because different people have different tastes. Sorry, I'm concentrating on these guys just real quick, and then I'll talk about the comments on chat.
Not enough mana.
He's like, I'm out here. So yeah, at least now he can't cast Decrepify on me, so I can run in circles all I want. Okay. See, do I ever personally feel like I could create the perfect action RPG? You've had so many thoughts over the years of how to make a D2-esque infinite hours ARPG by tweaking what already works. You have it in Read the Other Night. Okay. First Diablo through walkthrough worth. The book, I actually have that as well somewhere. I don't remember where. The strategy guide. I'd like to see the map thing. Okay, I already read that one. You have it, blah, blah. I actually have a D&D Diablo 2 as well. Four computers, couldn't imagine having that kind of spare money space. He literally just has them in a battle station around him, one monitor per computer. Even in-game contact with how Path of Diablo does it would be nice with maps. Yeah, a lot of them end up going maps. Basically, endgame you open up these avenues to large areas that have better drop chances. Have a good one, Chad. Sleep well. Whenever you fight Diablo, isn't he able to use Bone Prison? He uses a different Bone Prison, but yes, he uses a mini Bone Prison that just imprisons you. But he is 100% able to still use it. He has caught me in it a couple times. There's behavior that causes him to use it more. So do keep that in mind, that generally if he's using it a lot, that's because you're using town portals and stuff near him and he's wanting to shut you down. And he will put them on town portals too. But yeah, it's a very uncommon cast because, frankly, if he does that and then immediately goes into lightning, that'll kill most new players. I want him out here. That way I can get more space for him to walk onto those vents. At least he's not clone happy this time. I had to open my mouth. Now, one thing I'm gonna do it right now. One trick, if he's actually clone happy, by the way, come up to, if I can press the I, there we go. You just drop out of town portal, go out of the way, stay out for like about 5-10 seconds, and he'll despawn the clone, and he does not heal, so there's no downside to this. It's just a matter of how much patience you have. That's why you'll often see me, if I ever do like fast forwards on Bale, it's because of this that I'm usually just going to town, waiting for a minute, and then going back in. Okay, let's see. Did you play Diablo 3 and before the apocalyptic auction house shut down, how much cash did you make? I did not do any real money auction house. I didn't play Diablo 3 until after. Well, I played Diablo 3 during the beta, didn't buy it on release, bought it after that was shut down. If that tells you anything. I was irritated at it. Whenever he nuked the mercenary, he nuked you too. Sounds about right. Well, aren't you just clone happy there, you little butt? How did that get a reaction out of Bale? Jeez. I'm not even sure which one's the right one right now. I think it's the one up here. Nope, this one is the fake. I can tell by how fast his life is going down, by the way. The fake Bale has half the life of the original Bale. I don't mind getting rid of the fake Bale. I'd just rather focus in on the real one. See? Oh, geez. Hi. If you want to just stay right there, that's perfectly fine by me.
My brothers will not have died in vain.
Wow, Bale, can you stop with the clones, for God's sake? Because the clone is doing more mana damage to me than the real one, but still, like, why? That should... Oh, nope, it didn't kill the fake one. It'll kill him eventually. Actually, I think we got him with the fringe of one of them. Yeah, we did. But yeah, he has different kind of like AI scripts. Sometimes he's clone happy, sometimes he's hentai mode, which is what he is right now, which is sometimes cloning a lot of these. And how you behave actually does influence that as well to an extent, but not a ton. Yeah, this isn't real cheese. This is just kind of like murder face slowly. Oh, teleporting right as I cast it. You jerk. There you go. Honestly, Bale is easier with melee characters because you can get up in his grill and all he does is swing at you. Okay, so that's, I'm trying to remember what sword that is just off the top of my head. I want to say Sivir? No, Cleglaws. I knew it started with a C. But we already have Cleglaws.
Hello.
Do you think the Spirit Rune word is too strong for how easy it is to make? I'm fine with killing all of him. But, yeah. Let's see. Eisenheart is the most common set drop, though. Now, Eisenheart's plate, Venom Ward are the two most common, and there's Duriel's Shell is also pretty common due to the same thing, because those are actually, the breastplate is in most of the treasure classes. So it's just like it shows up all the freaking time. But for the most part, this stuff is junk, so I'm not going to stress too much about it. I'll check the amulet before we go, but Destruction's End, woo! Yay, we murdered them. Slayer Orokai. But yeah, that's one reason why Eisenhart's plate and the Venomord and all that fun jazz are so freaking common.
Welcome.
I should have just gone to normal and had Kane identify the stuff, but it's fine. It would be good for a low-level Boazon, but we can get better. That's garbage. And it's cute. I'm not going to use it for anything, but it's cute. No, I do not use it. It's not ban-worthy to talk about it. It's just I don't use sites like that. It's not my shtick. Ah, lighter armor now. So now we have more plus skills. We have plenty of mana. We have fire resist, damage reduction. We can hire a mercenary to use this if we want to. I think I will go ahead and hire one from normal that can actually equip that. At least I think he'll have enough strength at 27 to use it. He might not, but it's worth just swapping him out for it. You're about to make a sacrifice-based paladin? I'm sorry. Any thoughts on a low-budget Boazon that's still fun on Players 1? Depends on your definition of low budget. For me, findable stuff, just a Harmony bow is fine. Believe it or not. Like, just get an elite bow with Harmony in it, that's cheap enough. And it'll work. If you're looking for alternative cheap, Witchwild String is good. So, because it causes amplified damage, and it can be upgraded. Let's get ourselves a level 27, just whatever mercenary. But yeah, Strafezon is possible on a budget. It's just most people get salty about it because it's not as fast as a Javazon. Oh no. If I'm having more fun with a Strafer than I am with a Javazon, I'm fine with playing a Strafer. It can still do the job. I think a lot of people miss that point. It's not about getting the items as fast as possible. It's about having fun with your builds. If that is just farming for you, then more power to you. Hey, we've got to get the need for Wahid. Oh, I need the gold. That woke you up, I'm sorry. Go back to sleep, it's fine. Remember that being like finding a Stone of Jordan? Windforce? Honestly, I'd argue that Windforce is easier to find because you don't have item competition with it. Whereas Stone of Jordan, where you can find a Stone of Jordan, you can also always find Mantled Heel and Nagel Ring. Nightmare Andariel has a 1 in 31 chance of dropping SOJ, and she has a 15 in 31 chance of dropping Nagel Ring or Mantled Heel. You want to avoid making a Faith, but Faith is the most fun one. But I understand that. It really is best in slot for a reason. Windforce is a good one. Blast Spark isn't even that bad if you up it. Gold Strike Arch is kind of fun. It's not the most powerful thing ever, but it's fun. I forgot to check if you had enough strength for this. You do not. Do we have any plus strength things that you can equip? We could. He needs 95 strength, and he has 90. I'm gonna do that one in there. Because he can't use Fortitude for a while anyway.
I'll put that to good use. I'll put that to good use. I'll put that to good use.
There he goes. We now have a Insight Mercenary.
Thank
Wow, I am not aiming well. Here, I'm just going to control click it. Because I feel like a derp right now. So let's go ahead and grab this gold up. And that is normal difficulty done. It went a lot smoother than I was anticipating, actually. Bows cannot be ethereal. No. Have I done a Singer Barb playthrough? Yeah, but it's unlisted right now. We'll probably be doing another one. I think I could do it way better than I did before. I'm not a big fan of Old Zeal. For some reason, my brain still thinks back to the days of Old Zeal where you'd get Zeal Lock, where you'd be swinging and not hitting anything, and you'd just die, and you'd have like a 20-something Zeal swing. Nowadays, with it restricted a little bit, it's a lot easier to kind of get used to, so it's not terrible. I've gotten used to it. 2x Spirit Singers. Yeah, you still need a little bit of bonus damage, though. Vengeance is fun, but not best pick for post-game. Yeah, Vengeance is just one of those, it's entertaining and it's good enough. It's not going to be knocking down the door saying, I am the best thing ever! So let's go ahead and load that up there. We've got that there. We're almost at our 4 souls. We could make another spirit soon if we wanted to as well. This is going to take a while to get to. But those are our last 2 things to actually bother equipping. I mean, I could transfer over some other stuff, but Fortitude on the Mercenary is his next big thing. And whenever we do the Paladin, we're actually probably going to be using Fortitude ourselves in Hell. But on that note, that is the end of the stream. If you guys enjoyed this, be sure to drop likes. Be sure to follow for more streams. We may have another stream before Saturday, but Saturday is the day that I'm kind of like aiming for. And yeah, I will see you guys next time. May you find all the uniques and stuff that you are seeking. Bye.